Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everyone today? Professor just finished swimming. Lunch with the professor. We got free picks. We got locks. Got a pro lock. Got a college lock. Got at least 10 college plays. Really love them. I think I've got more data now to know, what are good plays for us. Not that, last week's plays were good, most of them. But we've seen Oregon, Colorado. Now we got a better feel of who the hell Colorado is. How bad they're going to lose to USC. They are going to lose. But we knew what SC was. We didn't know what Colorado was. And we're kind of a little deceived by them. They had that good first game with TCU. Everybody goes, oh, wow, look at this team. But Primetime made the mistake of saying, well, my son just won the Heisman. He threw for 500 yards. And what have you done for me lately? That was an old Eddie Murphy bit. And nothing. What did he do last week? Nothing. Nada. What you going to do this week? Well, USC is a little softer defensively. But I don't know how strong, Colorado's offense really is. I think you watch when Washington plays Oregon, it'll be 65-64. They're not going to stop them the way they stopped Colorado. 1 second, coffee's ready. Right there. Okay, need my coffee. It's hard. It's 12:30. I haven't eaten. Just went to the pool. Nice workout. And there you go. So this is why you keep an open mind. You learn about the teams. You learn what teams are what. And then you go from there. So let's go to the NFL first. We have the one game tonight. Detroit and Green Bay. First, let's talk about gold for a minute. So if we look at gold today, and I'm sure we have some people freaking out. Luke's probably peeing in his pants right now. So the price of gold is $18.63. Now, this is paper gold. So once you understand it's paper gold, you really don't have an issue with it going, oh, good, it means I can buy it $100 cheaper than it was. It doesn't mean anybody's selling physical gold. But if you're trying to sell your physical to the coin store, he's going to look at the paper price. So it only really works when you want to buy, not when you want to sell. Now, what's driving this is the algorithm that says if the US dollar goes up, gold goes down. So it's an automated thing. That's why I hate AI. There's no real economical reason. There's no supply demand reason. It's only if the dollar goes up, gold goes down. Well, that's not a reason. It's not a good reason. So anyway, we understand that. So this is a major buying opportunity because we're buying something valued much higher for much lower. All right. Back to football. And that's where they made off you is you think gold price is going down, you don't want to invest in it. Stay in the stock market. That doesn't go down. There's never been a stock market crash before. Okay, so scores and odds NFL tonight. And here we go. We got the Lions 2.5, 45.5. Interesting. As far as I know, Aaron Jones was playing. Is he not playing now? Bakhtiari's out. Aaron Jones was limited in practice on Wednesday. Yeah, but he was already probable. So I'll have to go to the other. Let's go to scores and let's go to my other injury, covers.com. This is the problem, too, trying to get valid information. So if we go to Green Bay, so now I'm on covers.com, which I don't know which one's more reliable, but I know that scores and odds is not really reliable at all. Green Bay. Yeah, Aaron Jones probable with the hamstring. Watson probable with the hamstring. A guard's out, a linebacker's out, a safety's out, a cornerback's out. Yeah. Bakhtiari's out. Yeah, nothing new. It must be the sharps. They must be betting on the Lions. That's how sharp they are. Taylor Decker's probable. Montgomery's probable. So they're betting on the Lions' injuries, even though the guard's out, a tackle's out, a fullback's out, another guard's questionable. So the line went up because this Taylor Decker, an offensive tackle who never plays, he's always injured, is probable with an ankle. Well, how long do you think he's going to play? 5 plays? So you're going to bet on Detroit because you think this guy's playing, even though Aaron Jones is playing. He's definitely probable. So good luck with that. So anyway, it's a real stupid reason to bet on Detroit because their tackle is probable with a bad ankle. Okay. Good luck with that. But you're getting people that don't know how to handicap and don't know how to bet. They read the wrong thing. If Adam Jones wasn't playing, that would have changed my number, but I don't give a fuck if the offensive lineman plays. Who cares? Cincinnati played pretty well in the championship game without an offensive lineman. All right, so we got 2.5, 45.5. The line betting on Detroit. So all you guys who like to be contrarian and bet against, then this is definitely a game I would take Green Bay and 8 in. I think Green Bay, I got them 23-20. I got an under game, over under 45.5. Jacksonville, the Sunday morning game that I'm sure everybody wants to get up early after watching the midnight college football game, if you are inclined, the USC game or whatever, and at 9:30 a.m. to watch this piece of shit. All right, 3 and 43.5. I think Atlanta should be favored. I think they're the better team. Buffalo 353.5. Should be a high scoring one. It's Miami. Minnesota 4 and 46.5. Up from 3.5 and 45.5. Now 46.5. Playing Carolina. I wonder if Andy Dalton has been named the starter. Well, if he's named the starter, it would go the other way. Again, let's look at the injuries. Which we probably won't get. Bryce Young is probable now. Okay, so we got Bryce Young gone for Carolina. Well, I like Dalton better, so I like Minnesota here if Bryce Young's the quarterback. He's so bad. So why would you start? Andy Dalton comes in, does a pretty good job against Seattle. Why would you start Bryce Young? What's going through your mind that you want this guy? I'm going to win more games with this guy. Keep in mind, we're not playing New Mexico State, Mississippi State, New Mexico. We're not playing those teams here. All right. Then we've got Denver 3.5, 46. A very pissed Denver team, I would say. Cleveland 2.5, 40.5. Against Baltimore. Cleveland with the best defense in the league with Jim Schwartz, the defensive coach, was the head coach of the Lions. He was a weird head coach. He's a good defensive coach. So some coaches should just stick with being an offensive coordinator, a defensive. Then they become a head coach. They don't know how to be a head coach. They know their defense or offense, but they don't know how to, being a head coach is a whole different issue. You got to lead the team. Offensive coordinator, you're not leading the team. The coach leads the team. You just figure out plays for the offense and defense to run. What do I run on 3rd and 2? That's what you're figuring out. As the head coach, you're not doing plays, so it's a big difference. Pittsburgh 341.5. Okay. Indy still 1.5, 45.5 over the Rams. New Orleans 339.5. Against Tampa. And they get Kamara back, although they lose Carr, and now they got to go with Winston, but they get Kamara back. Philly 8.5, 43.5. Interesting that this is not a 9. Why isn't this a 9 to block the teaser bettors to making it lane 3? Now they get to lay 2.5. Very interesting, strange line. This should be a 9. Cincinnati 2.5, 41. I don't know why they're favored here, but okay. 2.5, 41. To Tennessee. Should be a close game. Should be a low scoring. San Diego 5.5, 48.5 against Oakland. And is Garoppolo playing? He was banged up. Garoppolo did not practice Wednesday heading into week 4 versus the Chargers with the hand. Yeah, I'm sure he'll play. San Diego. Joey Bosa with the hamstring and a toe. What else is new? Derwin James with the hamstring. All these guys not ready. Terrible, terrible coaching. That's what I mean. The coach has to get the team ready, and they don't do it when they don't play them in the preseason. It's really a disjustice to your players. So you're like, I'm not going to get hurt in preseason. And the whole team gets hamstring injuries and knee injuries and foot injuries in week 1. You're better off letting them play in the preseason, getting them ready to get hit. So you think they don't need to get ready to get hit, just walk into week 1 and they're ready to play pro football? Are you out of your fucking minds? How these coaches keep their job? Well, I guess that's why you see 10 new coaches every year, because they're all fucking idiots. Funny how Andy Reid wins the Super Bowl and he plays Mahomes in the preseason. Not a problem there. They need the work. You need to play them. Dallas, 6.5, 43.5 against New England. San Francisco, 14, 44.5 to Arizona off of the Dallas upset. Probably be flat. Kansas City, 9.5, 41.5 to the Jets. This was 44.5 down to 41.5. People are catching on with the Jets defense. And the Giants, 1.5, 47.5. How the Giants are favored in this game is beyond me. So with all this, I've got one pro lock going. Your free play, take Green Bay tonight with Seattle as a dog. Got Monday night. Thank you. Couple of over-unders that I like. And I got about 4. I got about 5 plays and about 4 or 5 over-unders. So about 8, 9 plays. A lot of plays this week. Let's go through. So I got Goff against Love tonight. I got Riddler against Lawrence, Atlanta, Jacksonville. Tug against Allen, Miami, Buffalo. Wilson against Fields, Denver, Chicago. Lamar against Watson, Baltimore, Cleveland. Burrow against Tannehill, Cincy, Tennessee. Stafford against, we don't know. Do we have a Minshew? Let's go to Indy. Do we have a quarterback? Bobby Bo, what's up? How are you? I'm fine, thanks. How are you? And we've got Anthony Richardson probable. So it looks like it's going to be Richardson and Young. I don't know what they're hurrying him in for. So you've got Richardson against Stafford, and they got Indy favorite. I love it. And Young against Cousins. So where we're at, Stafford against Richardson. Mayfield against Winston, Tampa, New Orleans. We got Howell against Hurts. How is Howell even in the league? We got Cousins against Young. Vince Young tonight. Pickett against Stroud. God, these quarterbacks are so bad. Garoppolo against Herbert. Jones against Prescott. Jones for New England. Dobbs against Purdy. Mahomes against Zach Wilson. And Geno Smith against the New York Giant, Jones. Too many guys named Jones quarterbacking. Should be like you can only have one in the league. I'm starting with NFL. We'll look at college and keep going. You talked about the paper gold price being down. I guess it's the sale of the century to go buy gold now at the price being so low. I did look at the dollar. So it's an algorithm where the dollar goes up and gold goes down automatically on the algorithm, not for a real reason. And I saw that the dollar is like 95 cents to the euro now. It was 90. So why would gold go down? Because the euro's getting inflated to shit. So the dollar's stronger against shit. So let's sell gold. I mean, the whole thing's so stupid. What do I think of the news saying there's a chance that we are a few days away from a potty government shutdown? What's a pot? What, they're all going to the potty? That'd be great. I'd love the government to shut down. We don't need it. They're all corrupt. They don't do anything, so that would be great. We'd save a lot of money. I don't know. As long as I get my Social Security in 2 weeks, I don't care. Or we can leave that for after NFL for economic. Yeah, let me do the NFL. We'll get back to gold and everything. I'm heard the NFL fantasy guy, Matt Berry. Is he related to that Michael Berry guy who him and the other 5,000 people predicted the housing crisis, including me, which I don't get any credit for? Fuck them all. Matt Berry telling Stephen A. Smith that C.J. Stroud and Richardson look like superstars. The guy's, he's right on. Superstars. Superstar wrestlers or what? Superstar bowlers, tennis players? What are they? They ain't quarterbacks. He literally called them superstars. What the fuck is he thinking? Well, I guess it shows you his skill set. That'd be like me saying I know Excel, then you brought it to me, and I couldn't add two cells together. So Excel is a spreadsheet where it's like math, finance, stuff like that. So if you earn $10,000 the first quarter and $10,000 the second quarter, you go to the third. So A, B. So you go to C and you say add A1 and B1. You get to C. So he's saying he knows Excel skills, but he can't do that little function, which is basically adding two cells, which is the simplest thing to do in Excel. So that's what he's saying. What are they superstars based on? See, but that's the agenda. Why is Richardson is playing ahead of Minshew? Why is Young playing ahead of Andy Dalton? I mean, is it part of the globalist vision of letting these guys start when they're not even capable of being, good pro quarterbacks? I mean, Richardson wasn't a good college quarterback. It's all political, I believe, sir. Bobby Bo. All right, so let's keep going. So we got Thurston Howell III against Hurts, Washington, Philly. We got Cousins versus Steve Young, Minnesota, Carolina. We got Pickett against Stroud. I think I talked this. All right. Garoppolo against Herbert. Garoppolo's questionable. We'll see. Jones against Prescott. Oh, I think we already did quarterbacks. Okay. Now let's look at my scores. I got Green Bay 23-20 tonight. I don't care that the tackle for Detroit's playing. Atlanta 24-17. Buffalo 35-30. Denver 42-35. Cleveland 17-6. Cincy 20-17. The Rams 24-14 over Richardson, the superstar. New Orleans 17, Tampa 14. Philly 34, Washington 20. Minnesota 31, Carolina 24. Pitt 14, Houston 10. San Diego 35, Oakland 20. Dallas 21, New England 13. Frisco 31, Arizona 10. Kansas City 21, the Jets. Jets 17. And Seattle 27, the Giants 10. Free pick, Seattle, Green Bay. That's your free pick. I got one lot going. I got a bunch of college plays. I must have 10 college teasers going. And it's very few are together. Very few are like I took Team A in a teaser, and then I took Team A in another teaser. Very few are like that. I found so many games. It's unbelievable. And that's college. In the pros, I got probably about 8 or 9 picks with the lock. Now, the pro lock's in 2 teasers. Both halves of it. And got a few others, and I'll probably add a few more. So that's your NFL. Again, I like Green Bay as a home dog tonight. Very hard in the conference to be a road favorite and win. Because it's, it's a little different because Love hasn't faced Detroit anymore. So I hear these idiots on the radio look at Detroit, the last 12 games, they're 7-5, or they won the last 3. See, they don't get it. You got to throw all that out because that was Rodgers. This is Love. You don't know if you're going to beat Love or not. It brings a different dynamic. I know 2 of the last 3 games, Rodgers basically threw. They were fixed. That one game in Detroit when they scored 6 points and he threw 3 interceptions in the end zone, in the Lion end zone, was totally a fixed game. He even said so. He was not going to play, and game was fixed. So saying that you're doing this against Green Bay when the quarterback isn't trying isn't a big deal. So I haven't heard back from the Cam Rising Doctor camp, but I haven't heard back from Mark McGuire either. They're too stupid to have me on. Okay, so let's just look at today and Friday's college. Well, let's run through just the spreads. Western Kentucky 760.5. That's tonight. That's moving. That's up from 5.5. Big jump there. Is it the Sharps, or do we bet against them? Do we take them? I don't know. I'm so excited when I figure out the Sharps are betting. I don't know what to do with it because they know everything. Tulsa 3.5, 54.5. That has not moved. So Temple and Tulsa, both Z teams. They both basically suck, but you don't want to play them when they play together. You want to play them when they play a good team and bet against them. Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee. Western Kentucky's an over team. Middle Tennessee is a W team. Now the problem with Western Kentucky, they lost 65-7 to 65-10 to Ohio State, but they're not. If you lose to USC, Washington, Ohio State, okay, that's way above. That's almost the reverse of the high school effect. when they beat a high school team 65-0, you got to wipe that out. And I've been doing that. I've been going into some of these games, and I'm just drilling into their schedule, and I see the 4 games they played, and then we beat the high school team 62-0, and then the other 3 games were 24-20s. But I got them as a 40-point offense and a 10-point defense. And there was one team I did, and when I took out the high school game, they were a 25-25. So they played 3 other games against normal teams. I think they gave up 24 points in all 3 games and scored like 25. So they were like 25-24. But I don't have them as an even team because they got the 42-0 win over the high school team. So that's why you've got to pull that out. The problem is every fucking team plays the high school team. So you're basically drilling into each one. You then have to note it. And then when I bring in the new data, it overwrites it. So I almost have to, I don't know how I'm going to do this, where I'm almost going to have to bring in the new data, then put another box underneath it that says take the new data minus the high school game, divide it by how amount of games, and get to the new number. And it's just, there's only so much time in the day. So I mentally note that. I mentally look at the schedule. I'll go throw it out, and I figure it out as I'm looking. It's just much easier that way. And I think there's several games we know: Notre Dame, USC, Oregon, Colorado. We don't need to go back into that. So it's really the Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee. Then we got to look at that. All right. So that's tonight's games. Remember, we got we got one more. We got the Houston-Jacksonville State game, and from Sam Houston. You think Sam Houston's in Houston? Jacksonville State 6.5, 36.5. The number hasn't changed. Sam Houston scored. I think they've scored 10 points in 4 games. They score 105 yards a game. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. That's it. They average 105 yards a game on offense. I know they played Houston, but come on. So we will see. But who's Jacksonville State, so I can't get all excited there. But you use it down the road. Okay, tomorrow, the Friday games. We got Louisville 3.5, 55.5. That number's gone up from 54 against NC State. Louisville is an A team. They score a ton. They have a pretty good defense. NC State's a B team. They don't score as much, but they still have a good defense. Even though Notre Dame put up a 45 on them. If you average that and take out the high school game, they're probably a little bit lower. We got that. We've got LTech 1.5, 51.5. Okay. UTEP was favored. LTech's now the favored. And 51. So the total went from 53 to 51, and the line moved from UTEP favored to LTech favored. LTEP has Backenmeyer, the Boise quarterback. He's hurt. Maybe he's playing. Big fucking deal. The guy sucks anyway. LTech is an over team, supposedly, and UTEP is a Z team. So here's where you got to look at LTech. See, they beat a high school team. Take that out of the equation and look at the other couple of games. So I don't know if they're still an over. UTEP's a Z team. It is what it is. So LTech should kill them if they're really an over team. And so let's just look at LTEP right now. I'll show you what I mean. So here's LTech. And if you scroll to the bottom, you see the results. And then you look at Florida International, SMU. Then you got Northwestern State 51-21. We got to throw that game out because that's a high school game. They lost to Nebraska last week 28-14. So if we look at Florida International, SMU, so they played the first games, the early game, the back-to-back week 0, week 1. So they put up 22, 14, 37, and 14. So I would hardly call them an over because you got to take the 51 against Northwestern State. So here's my whole point. So now it's 2 14s, a 22, and a 37. Quick math shows it's probably a 28. And then they give up, it's probably the same because they gave up 21. So you could probably use that. So that puts L-Tech probably not an over, but probably like an even team. And then if we look at, what are they playing? UTEP. So UTEP beats loses to Jacksonville State. Then they get their big win was in Incarnate Ward, 28-14. So this team cannot score. They got 28 against Vegas last week was a big number. They got 10 on Arizona, and whoever NWU is, that's another. They play 2 high school teams. That's not Northwestern, I don't believe. Although it could be. They lost 38-7, but I don't know that it's going to tell us. NWU. Oh, yeah, it is Northwestern. What the fuck did they just say Northwestern? Okay, so they lost to Northwestern. 38. So they lose to Northwestern 38-7. Northwestern sucks, but okay, 38-7. Lose to Arizona 31-10. Lose to Vegas 45. So they have no defense, UTEP. So they are probably a Z team. And yeah, so I could see L-Tech possibly only laying 1.5 winning. I think I liked it when they were the dog, but hard to get too excited with it. All right. Oregon State, 3.5, 44.5. Now, here's my idea. We have no idea Cam Rising's doctor is going to say until Friday. We might get a break on this. We might hear this during tomorrow's class. This is a 9 p.m. game, which I assume is Eastern Standard Time on this. So if it says 9 p.m., I'm assuming my time 9 p.m., which is New York. So by 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we should know if he's playing. I doubt he's playing. I don't know why the doctor has to wait so long. And my biggest bitch is this Cam Rising flying to LA today to have his leg looked at? Does he fly the day before the game so the doctor looks at it and then makes his decision, but he's good enough to practice? What the fuck's going on there? So my idea is to bet this game under, but we have probably a 3-hour window tomorrow. So because it's Friday, the doctor's office is only up until 5 o'clock, we saw. So we should know by 5, 6 o'clock if he's playing or not. If he's not playing, it's a strong under bet because that defense, Uglia, he threw 3 interceptions last week against Washington State. A big game on the road. He chokes. There ain't no way he's going to throw 3 more against Utah. I mean, that's money in the bank. Uglia, any big game against a good defense, he does not show up. But they'll probably draft him and call him a superstar too. All right. So that's my plan. If Rising plays, this is a very strong Utah 9.5 play. So he plays, we jump on Utah very, very strong. An ounce of gold strong. And if he doesn't play, we ounce of gold the under, 44.5 to 50. So play it with the lock, whatever you want to do. But there's a good lock. There's a good college lockout. You can play with the pro lock. but that's what I would play it with. And I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to lock it anyway once I get the news. This is the problem handicapping that I've been having. So I want to play the Florida game, right? I wanted to play it. I ended up locking the game anyway, laying 1, and they still won, but I was expecting Cam Rising to play. This is my roast, Bobby. Well, it's a London broil. So I put it in the oven, 315 for 70 minutes. Tasty. So this is the problem. Week 1, I'm ready to lock it. Rising isn't playing. We still play it. We win. Then after that, it's like, is he playing? We really haven't understood it until now. That's the LA doctor. What the fuck's he waiting for? Why is he okay to play practice, but he can't play in the game? So that's our problem. So with that said, we should have probably a little bit more time, and then it's just a matter of playing. Now that we know, well, the doctor goes home at 5 o'clock. Well, I guess that's Pacific time. So, well, he's got to make an announcement, I guess. So we should know tomorrow afternoon. And we'll see it in the spread. If the spread's 3.5, if all of a sudden the spread's even, he's playing. If it stays at 44.5, he's out. And then we jump on the under. So that's been the problem. So instead of being like, okay, I'm going to take, I'm taking Green Bay tonight. I know I got Aaron Jones. I know I got my players. It's not, is Love going to play? Is Jones going to play? I know they are. I know I got my team. San Diego last week, I knew I had Herbert, and I knew I had my guys. Williams gets hurt in the game, but I don't really care as long as Keenan Allen got 15 passes for 250 yards. Yeah, Minnesota, they can cover. So that's, it's one thing to bet the game, at least know who you've got playing for you at the start of the game. You might not finish with those guys, but you started with these guys. So that's all you can say. With Rising, we can't even get to the start gate with him, which is really frustrating, only because he does practice and only because the doctor from Utah is saying he can practice fine. Well, then why can't he play? Or aren't they tackling him in practice? And he might get tackled in the game, and he might do this and he might do that. You missed the roast. All right, here's the roast. So it's a London broil. This is just a piece of it, right? So it's it's like a football, right? It's about this big, this thick. So I put it on 315 in the oven for 75 minutes. I do about 30 minutes aside, 35 minutes, and I turn it over. And then I got olive oil in the pan, and I'm brushing it to keep it moist. I put Italian dressing on it and the seasoning, salt, the pepper, the garlic, and some basil. Put that on it on both sides, turn it over. So I'm seasoning it, Italian dressing, throw it in the bake pan, and I'm baking it. And I never knew how to bake food to be. I always broiled it or barbecued it. So this is interesting for me. But you'd see some big steaks, and you're like, how do I cook it? And if you broil it, you don't cook the inside and you burn the outside. So the only way to really eat these thick roasts are to bake it. You can't broil it. I mean, maybe at the end once it's cooked, but I never do that. Just a second, Bobby. Well, I put garlic and turmeric on my omelets, on my chicken, on everything. It's part of my spices. Salt and pepper, garlic and turmeric, and basil. Those are pretty much automatic on everything I make. Utah is going to start losing ball games soon. Well, I don't know. Not if they get Rising. They won't lose if they get Rising. Thank you, Bobby Bo. Yeah, I cut it into like 6 pieces. So it's almost like I got Like, look how thick this is, right? I mean, this is a thick fucking, and it's just one slice. So it's a football, and I've cut off one slice. That's what and then I nuked it, and I cooked it last night. And then I'll have this filled. I mean, this is it. This and my avocado, and I got some cauliflower. This is lunch. Dinner will be probably an omelet. And that way I cook my veggies, although I do want a salad, but I'll fry them up in the pan. Thank you, Bobby. So we'll see. I don't know. Utah could lose this game if Rising. This is where they need Rising. Now they're in the South, so they need them against. They didn't need them against UCLA. They're going to need them against USC. They're going to need them against the crossover. If it's Washington, if it's Oregon, if it's Washington State. Here's Oregon State's one of the crossovers. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to need them against Oregon and Washington for sure if they play both of them. But, yeah, I mean, take Caleb Williams out of USC. What are they going to do? Take Richardson out of Indiana. They don't have a chance. Oh, wait, they won last week without him. All right, so that's that. Then we got Cincinnati and BYU. I don't understand why Cincinnati's 2.5-point favorite. I don't see any injury to BYU. Over under 49.5. Both are B teams. Both are almost identical. They both seem to get the same yards. They both have decent defenses, decent offenses. So I really don't know. I like Slovis, the quarterback on BYU. He's from USC. He's really good. And that's tomorrow's games. Now let's just look at some big games on Saturday. And tomorrow we'll go through more of it. Penn State 26-46 to Northwestern. Clemson, Syracuse, 6.5, 53.5. I like Syracuse here. I got to think of it like Clemson got sky high at home for Florida State as a home dog and lost in overtime. I don't know how good this Klubik is. He didn't do a whole lot. So you got that. Like, Syracuse hasn't lost yet, and they beat my Army team 29-16, which counts twice because, Army. But they are like the top scoring team. They average like 50 points a game, Syracuse. Clemson lost to Duke. This game's at Syracuse. Syracuse is a very strong team this year. So I really like Syracuse in 12.5. I don't understand this spread. This is a 5-year-old spread. Well, Clemson used to be good. Have you seen them this year? They got killed by Duke and lost to a good Florida State. They lost to two good teams. They're not losing to Michigan State's, but after the emotional game with Florida State, they have to let down. It's just you can't get up again. So I like Syracuse there. Utah State 5.5, 51 to UConn. UConn's terrible again. Kentucky 1.5 against Florida, 44.5. I like this to be low scoring. Florida with the good defense, Kentucky with the good defense. When I looked at the schedules, they hadn't really. Kentucky blew out like a high school team. They didn't really put up a big number against the good teams. I don't see them blowing out Bobby's Florida team here. Or no, your team's Tennessee. And all the Texas teams and LSU. So it's really hard. See, now you can see how Vegas works. I know Bobby likes LSU, so I'm going to raise the spread on LSU 3 points, and Bobby's still going to bet it. That's the way they think. But we don't think like that, so we're like, fine, do whatever you want. We'll take advantage no matter which way you go on it. So I like this game under. Buffalo and Akron. Akron 2.5. Akron's a W team and Buffalo's an over team, and Buffalo's got a really good quarterback. I don't understand this one either. I had Buffalo as a 10-point favorite. I mean, Akron doesn't score, and Buffalo lights it up and has a good quarterback, unless he's injured. So let's see. I don't think he is. I know I've checked this. Yeah, it's just a wide receiver is questionable. He's not even out. This is a very live dog here, Buffalo, against a weak favorite, Akron. A W favorite over and over is what we live for. That's why we're just blind. We're just looking at it like, what's Buffalo? An over team. What's Akron? A W. We don't get emotionally invested. So we can bet an over team versus a W team when the W team's favored. That's how we look at it. That's really why we win, because we can make bets like that. Who else can bet Buffalo this week? Nobody's betting Buffalo. Nobody's buying. No Americans buying gold. Egon, man, I gotta leave a note in the comment section. Egon, I'm American and I buy gold all the time, and so does my class. What the fuck are you talking about? See, I like those stereotypes when they think we're all too stupid to buy gold. Basically insulted us. He says, Americans are too stupid to buy gold. Bobby Bo, my instincts tell me they will actually start losing when he gets back. No. You're screwed up there, Bobby. No, he comes back, they're going to win because he's that good. Well, think about it as if he's Caleb Williams. So if USC is down Caleb Williams and they're winning and he comes back, are they going to start losing? Is Carolina going to win because Bryce Young's back, or Steve Young, or Vince Young, or Vince Barnes? I mean, whoever. LSU line went up. I was considering doubling down on it for more. Are you betting gold? You're using the term money. There's no money around here. They take the paper crap. I don't know. We'll get to it. Let's go. USC, Colorado. USC 21.5, 73.5. I don't know how you can bet this game total-wise. It's insane. Yeah, but Williams is better than Rice. Oh, I don't know about that. Don't bring that shit here, Bobby. No. He plays in a rigged system. Look at Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. As soon as they get out of that system, they're not quite as good. And you can see when Rising isn't in it, there is no system. They suck. The quarterbacks are terrible, but when Rising's in it, all of a sudden they score 40 a game. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards USC minus the 15, because even if Colorado does score, they couldn't stop Colorado State. What are they going to do here? Oh my God. UAB Tulane. Tulane's got their quarterback back. 21.5, 59.5. Bobby's Arkansas. A&M 6.5, 53.5, and their quarterback's out. Can somebody explain why this line hasn't moved? I like Arkansas here, getting 12.5 with Jefferson, and they almost beat Bobby's LSU team, and they don't have their quarterback. Well, Jesus Christ, you got to be kidding me. Miami of Ohio 14 over Kent. And Miami of Ohio is interesting. They got a very good offense, terrible defense, but Kent's the Z team. The Kent coach quit to go coach. He's Colorado's offensive coordinator, is the Kent coach, which I like their offense, but I think he's in over his head. But Miami's 14.5, 48.5. I like Miami here as, again, Kent's a Z team. That's the problem. So the coach leaves and the new coach comes in, has the players of the old coach, if they've even stayed, or they all transferred to Colorado. And then what do you got? And then what system does he bring in? Because these coaches are too stupid. They come in with their own system, but they don't have the players for it. You've got to come in with no system and just, who are my players? Like I do. Who are my players? That's what we're going to run. Just like my betting. I just pick the teams. Look, I don't know that Kent before the season's a Z team, but now I see they're a Z team. I'm betting against them. as I try to bet against all the Z teams. So whoever it is who I'm betting against. I'm just coming. My formula is bet against the Z teams, bet against weakness, the art of war. Georgia Tech 22.5, 51 to Bowling Green. And in this game, Bowling Green's a Z team. There's so many Z teams in the MAC. There's 5 teams that don't score 20 points in a game on offense. This is incredible. I know they play Michigan and they play Georgia and some other schools, but you got to be able to score. So again, Bowling Green, a Z team, Georgia Tech's a highly offense team, high scoring team. So I look for them. I know the professor and Bobby Bo agree on 90 out of 100 things. And not 2 things we differ is Rising and Jefferson. Jefferson is worse, though. I might forgive Rising if he shows something. Well, you're mad at him because in the Rose Bowl he rips his ACL and he has to leave in the third quarter, and you're mad at him for getting injured. I mean, come on, Bobby. We won a lot of money with Cam Rising. All right. Problem with doing this during class is the roast got cold, so I got to eat cold roast. Almost didn't chew it enough. It was kind of a thick piece going down. UCF 12.5, 55.5 against Baylor. I'm not sure if the quarterback's coming back this week or when. I don't think he's back till October. So we will see. Let's see. Michigan 16.5, 39.5 to Nebraska. And what I think I think it'll be just like Rutgers. I think it'll be a low scoring game. Heinrich Himmler quarterbacking Nebraska, goose stepping down the field. I don't think Nebraska's got much of an offense, and they both have good defenses. So I do think it'll be Michigan doesn't have much of an offense. They're just running the ball. I think Harbaugh got hit by lightning and he turned into Bo, and he's just running the Bo offense. We're going to run the ball and play defense. So that's fine. Bet them under. Let's see. Georgia, Auburn, Georgia 14.5, 45.5. Auburn's not very good offensively, which is good. So, of course, Georgia under. Kansas, Texas 16.5, 61.5 was 17. Kansas is a very good team, as they showed you, beating BYU the way they beat them. And they scored a lot on BYU. So I'm not quite sure that Texas is 17 points better than Kansas. Kansas can light it up. They got a good quarterback and a good backup quarterback. The defense is getting better. That one cornerback laid that hit on that guy last week. He read the play, runs up, drills him. The guy fumbles. He picks it up and runs it in for a touchdown. He killed the guy. What a beautiful hit. I mean, he just ran into him and knocked him down and fumbled. Oh, God, that was beautiful. I don't know that Texas offensively is going to beat Kansas by more than 20 points. I find that hard to believe. It wouldn't surprise me if this game was 35-31. Not at all. I think the score, Texas is a good defensive team, but so is Kansas. They do have a defense. Last year, they were an over team. This year, what do I got Kansas at this year? I got them as an A team, so they are playing better defensively, and we know they got a great offense. So the Texas has the better defense, but Kansas's defense, Kansas isn't an over here where I would just take Texas. Kansas is an A team. They're playing defense. So this spread, this is based on Texas beating Alabama, who's not very good this year. And now you're laying 16.5 to Kansas, who's a very good team. It wouldn't surprise me if Kansas won the game. I'm not saying they will, and I'm not going to money line it, or I don't do that anyway. But it would not surprise me if this game is much closer than you think. Interesting game here is Vegas, Hawaii in Vegas, 10.5 and 59.5. I really like the over here. Vegas is a high scoring team, I think. Yeah, they're an over. Hawaii, we know, is probably an over. They've just had a hard schedule. But against Vandy and Stanford, they put up in the 30s. Then I think they had a tough one with a good team. Oh no, they played Oregon. They lost 55-10. But they got the 10 with 2 minutes left to give me the over. I had over 61. But that's the problem. Look at Oregon. They beat you 55-10. The over-under in the game, 69. Then they kill Colorado, but it's the same, 42-6. So Oregon's very good, very live dog. We got Oregon, Washington coming up. Oregon, Washington State. Oregon State. Washington, them. When they play USC, when they play UCLA. I mean, we're just such a loaded Pac-10. And it's going to be funny now because the whole thing's going to be screwed up with Oklahoma and Texas in the South and the SEC. Now they're getting good. Now they're going into the SEC. See, they're getting defense for the SEC. That's what they need. And then you got USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. Curious. So you got what? USC playing Nebraska in the Big Ten. I'm like, what? It's all going to be screwy. I mean, how are the teams? Are the teams still? Is Oregon and Washington? Aren't they coming to the Big Ten too? I thought. Anyway, it's a nightmare. I like them all in the same conference because it's geographic. That's how it should be. So we're going to play. USC is going to fly to Michigan and play, and then Michigan State's going to fly to UCLA. Like, what the fuck is that? If they even have airplanes to fly them in, I assume. Bobby's LSU, 2.5, 67.5 to Old Mississippi. Oh, my God. Who is my line? Here. I forget my college lock. I know one of them. I don't know who the other team is. I got to check my lock. Who's my college lock? Okay. That's a good one, too. All right. My pro lock, I know. So who should I give as my college free pick? All right. I'll give you this one. So the free pick's going to be, we're going to go with Arkansas getting 12.5. As A&M's quarterback's out. And we will go with the under in the Florida-Kentucky game. Okay. See, I'm loaded. I'm loaded with picks this week. There it is. It's loaded already. Okay. All right, so I'll give you that as the free pick. Arkansas with A&M's quarterbacks out. And Florida, Kentucky under, which should be good. Let me just check that. Arkansas, make sure that the quarterback is out for A&M, but Bobby gave us that, so I'll yell at Bobby if he's playing, and we lose. Texas A&M, let's see. You got to get to the T's, and then there's 100 Texases. Tennessee, Tech. Okay, here you go, Bobby Bow. Out for the season with an ankle. Quarterback Wegman. So there we go. We got it from Bobby Bow, and there it is. So we're betting the second string quarterback against him with George Jefferson. Okay. All right. So that's good. What else? All right. So LSU 2.5, 67.5 against Ole Miss. I like LSU in this game. God, I got so many fucking games. That's the thing. Here's Arkansas quarterbacks out. Okay, I like them. Here's LSU, Ole Miss. Ole Miss sucks. The spread's 2.5. What's wrong with that? So I think LSU wins. Ole Miss got to be flat after Alabama, and they didn't do shit against Alabama. But this is a really good, good offense. LSU scores a lot. Oregon, Stanford. Oregon 27.5 and 60.5. They're playing Stanford, and we just saw now they're not that strong on the road. They had an emotional win against Colorado. The question is, who do they have next week? But I think Oregon will crush Stanford because Stanford stinks. Oklahoma, 19.5, 48.5 to Iowa State. And did you notice Oklahoma's defense giving up 8 points a game? Bet you didn't. That's a key there. We know Iowa State plays every game 3-0 or 10-7. So, another Iowa State game, another Georgia game. You know what to do. All right, key game, Notre Dame, 5.5, 53.5 against a very strong Duke. Both are A's. The total went up from 51.5 to 53.5. Notre Dame going to be flat after that Ohio State, and the way they lost, they were sky high, and they lose in the last second. They've got to be demoralized, and here comes Duke, who beat Clemson at home, so that's what we're basing it on. It's Clemson that good. What scares me is Hartman. See, that he's very good. See, so when I like Syracuse against Clemson, they don't have a Hartman on Clemson. Right. And I got a good quarterback on that. So when I look at the quarterbacks, yeah, Riley Leonard against Hartman, I still like Hartman's better, but definitely, Riley Leonard's not bad. So you get a home dog who's rested, looking forward, and you get a Notre Dame flat after the Ohio State debacle where they held them at the 1, they held them at the 10. They fucked my over, but they did hold them at the 1 and the 10. So it's a very tough defense. I wouldn't be surprised if this game's under. I mean, if they didn't go over with Ohio State, I just don't see them going over with Duke. But Duke held Clemson to 7 points. Florida State, they scored 24 on Florida State. So games at Duke, I think Duke could win this game very easily. Iowa, Michigan State, Iowa 12.5 against Michigan State. Good God. So many games. I think Iowa absolutely kills Michigan State. Iowa, they're better at home, and they're not as low scoring. They've been scoring 24, 27 points a game. They go to Penn State, get shut out, emotional whiteout, Penn State wins. Now they're back home, and they get Michigan State, a team, the coach is fired. The team looks like crap. They got blown out by Maryland at home, and Maryland doesn't blow out anybody. Iowa, I think this is 24-0. I don't see Michigan State. They couldn't score on Maryland. They got 9 points. So even though Iowa's an under, they're probably more of a B team where they probably score 24, give up 10. And Michigan State is just terrible. I mean, their best game was Central Michigan, 31-7. Michigan will kill this team, but that's coming up. But I like Iowa here. No, that'll be the thing. So State will lose every game, then Michigan, they win, and you're like, well, how did you couldn't beat Maryland and you beat Michigan? And that's what always perplexes me as a handicapper analyst. How the fuck, if you can beat Michigan, did you lose to Maryland, Northwestern, and these other teams? Because obviously you have the talent to beat Michigan, so you had the talent to win these games. Problem's the coach. That always amazes me when they do that. Okay. TCU, West Virginia, TCU 12.5, 51.5, up from 11.5. The Sharps are betting on TCU. West Virginia, the whole thing, any game at West Virginia, they play very well. When they go to Texas to play Texas and Texas Tech and A&M and and TCU and Baylor, they get killed. And this game's at TCU. So I would think TCU. I like their quarterback. They are still scoring a ton. Their defense isn't as sharp. Alabama, 14.5, 46.5. Hasn't moved to old Mississippi State, who I don't really think's that good. They barely beat Arizona at home. Alabama, Milrose sucks, but I'm sure that one guy would call him a superstar. If he'd see him run around with the ball, he's clearly a superstar runner and clearly a pig as a quarterback. So with that said, let's look at old Mississippi State here. So they beat Arizona 31-24, which we had. They lose to LSU 41-14, and they lose to South Carolina 37-30. So they score 30 on the weaker defenses, and against LSU, it's 41-14. And I got to believe that score is going to be the same thing for the Alabama game. I think Alabama lights them up. I think the way Alabama's playing, Ole Miss is a better team than Old Mississippi State. I don't think they're going to, I think they're just going to pressure the quarterback as Alabama, when they start blitzing, you can do. And if you don't have a screen game, they'll kill you. Or you need the Georgia defense to beat Alabama. Otherwise, you're not beating them. And Mississippi State does not have the Georgia defense. They're an over team. And Bama's a B team. They're just not – they're only scoring 30 a game with Milrose and that delightful 17-3 win over South Alabama or South Florida. So I think Bama under 10, 8.5, yeah, I think go. Washington, 19.5, 6, 7.5 against Arizona. The Luka, the quarterback, has a bad ankle, but from what I read, he is playing. Or he's playing on a very sore ankle. Washington's lighting everybody up with Penix. I love their coach. I think Washington kills Arizona too. Arizona, well, they're a B team, but against Old Mississippi State, it was 31-24. So it's not. Again, here's where you get the high school. So if we look at Arizona, take out the high school team. So we take out the 38-3 Northern Arizona game. That's what I'm talking about. So that makes their defense look better. and their offense looked better. Well, take that out. They lose 31-24 to Old Mississippi State. They beat UTEP, who sucks, 31-10. And they barely beat Stanford, but their quarterback gets hurt, 21-20. So in the normal scope, UTEP, who sucks, was 31-10. I don't think they covered. Oh, yeah, they're laying 18. But in the Old Mississippi State game goes to overtime. And, so they're only scoring 20. Well, wait a minute. You've got Arizona here, and they went to Michigan State and won, 42-7. So they've been on the road, and they're like a machine. They're not going to lose to Arizona here. And the last game is Fresno State 24.5, 50.5 to Nevada. Nevada's a Z team. Fresno State, Mikey Keene from UCF. I love how they get these quarterbacks. Very strong, a lot of yards, a lot of offense. They're an A team against the Z team. Enough said. So that's kind of a brief look at college, but a look of these games today and tomorrow. Again, so you can go with. I got so many games. It's crazy. This is a week to buy from me. This is a week you can seriously hit a 10-team teaser on. I got the lock. I just, the Florida under and the Arkansas. But that's the way the week is. It's all over the place. LSU, Oregon, Washington, take Kansas, take Duke, take Iowa, take Michigan. It's like it's insane. What as I'm studying it, boom. Oh, there's Miami over Kent State. Oh, look, Rice is even good against East Carr. Oklahoma, Iowa State. Take it under, take this, take that. It's, Baylor, UCF. Is the quarterback playing? But he's not. Take UCF. Hawaii, Vegas. You can go over. It's every fucking game. Georgia, Auburn. Georgia should kill Auburn. Auburn's terrible. South Florida, the Navy. I like the game over. It's insane. Now that I'm seeing it, I don't even get why Cincinnati's favored over BYU. And then we still haven't gotten to the Utah game because of Cam Rising, which we can't bet till tomorrow about 6 o'clock when we know that the doctor's still waiting for the USC game, which we believe he is. And I don't know why he's got to wait to game time. Can't he sit there and say he's out now? Why do we need to wait till 5 minutes before game time for the doctor to say he's out? Now, if the doctor is actually flying into Utah and putting Rising on a table and inspecting him and saying, nope, you can't play. You can't take a hit, which might be the case. He might be saying he's okay to practice because he's not getting hit, but I don't think he can take a hit yet. Okay, that would be fine. We would understand it because it looks bad when he can practice, but he can't play. When the Utah, the college has the hospital, right? Like U of M, Michigan has U of M hospital, right? That's the team doctor. So when you see that, if they say the guy's okay to play, that's it. There's no like the Lions doctor. God, do they even have a doctor, the Lions? Knowing them, they're so cheap. He's probably some guy in medical school. But they probably have. They take him to the U of M haircut school to get everybody's haircuts. That's the Lions. Do you realize they don't pay their cheerleaders? This is the first. This is like the second or third year they actually have adult cheerleaders. They used to have high school cheerleaders, so they didn't have to pay them. Lions are fucked up, right? So I got a board of I don't know, about 10 pros and at least 20 college games. And I played most of the college games. Some weeks I've been staying away. I'm not sure. And finally, I can read it, right? The light's gone on. And I told my guy that I give the bets. He gives me the 20% when we win. I said, we're not going to lose the rest of the year. There's no more losing weeks. So now I can see it, right? I can see how good Duke is. I can see how good all these other teams are now. I can see the Z teams in the MAC, and we just keep going against it. So that's what we have. It's true, Professor. It's like saying buy gold, buy silver, but the Bobby Bow rookie card, or buy the Bobby Bow. Believe me, Bobby, I wish this card was worth $1,000. No offense to you. I mean, if you would have hit, you hit 256 with 3 homers with the White Sox and the Pirates. This is your first year, 1986. Career highlight. Let's read Bobby's career highlights. Appeared to have established himself as a valuable handyman. You're a handyman? Bobby Bow's no handyman. When White Sox traded him back to the Pirates at midseason, while hitting 269 with 2 homers, 27 runs, 26 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases in 75 games for Chicago at time of deal. Missed most of the 85 season, probably watching the 85 Bears. Did you make a lot of money betting on the 85 Bears? Appearing in just 39 games for Pirates, Prince William farm team, after suffering a broken leg. Well, I hope the leg's healed. Hit 264 with 11 homers and 71 RBIs in 136 games at Nashua. Where the hell is that? In 84. So you bat, you're your switch hitter, you throw right. Anyway, this is your Leaf rookie card. There he is, everybody. Bobby Bow. I don't have a rookie card. I have a driver's license. Bobby Bow is considered as actually considering putting an irresponsible amount on LSU. Yeah, I agree with you, Bobby. I'd actually put a gold ounce on LSU at the physical price, not the COMEX price. So we went through the pro injuries for the couple of the games. Let's go through the college injuries. Arizona quarterback Delura, questionable with a calf injury. Who else do we know has a calf injury at quarterback? Joe Burrow. What's with the calf injury that takes so long to recover from? Here we go. Arizona State. Quarterback Pine, quarterback Boquette. Okay, Boquette's probable with the leg. Pine from Notre Dame, questionable with the leg. Last week, they were all doubtful. So I took USC, and then they all played. I'm like, what the fuck? They're all doubtful. So at least Boquette's probable, and Pine's questionable. At least you think they can. Then the other guy, Rashada, quarterback, is early November. So I know he's out. Arkansas, just some wide receiver has been out, and a running back is questionable. My Army team, they're fine. Auburn, even if somebody, I wouldn't know anybody that's good on Auburn anyway. Shapen's questionable with the knee for Baylor. Bowling Green, I don't know. Orth is not their starter. Maybe he should be. He's probable. BYU really is nothing. There's a running back who's doubtful, but I looked up their stats. He's not even a starter. So I don't know why they're a home dog. Kale, nothing. UCF Plumlee is out he's out indefinitely for an undisclosed, so probably a team rule. But their backup is fine, so it's not like the backup sucks. Let's see. Colorado, that Hunter, the cornerback, is mid-October, and Prime Junior, the safety, is questionable with an undisclosed. I love these undisclosed. Well, that's all I got. I think I got one of my badges from Mercedes in the car. I'll bring that in. That'd be funny. Yeah, you get badges to go through the doors. I got my Mercedes one. I kept it. Let's see, Connecticut, Duke, they're fine. Florida's got a ton of injuries, but nobody that you would even know who played on the team. Florida Atlantic's quarterback is out for the season. Casey Thompson out for the season with the knee. Their backup stinks, but I don't see Florida Atlantic this week. Let's see. Georgia's McConkey, I thought, played last week. He's quite there are a bunch of questionables on Georgia. Offensive lineman's out, defensive lineman's out. Brooks Robinson, the running back's out, and somebody else, a tight end, is out. Georgia Southern. Now, just some running back. I don't know. Georgia State, pretty healthy. Georgia Tech, couple of receivers are out. Hawaii, who knows? Houston, all right. Illinois, 3D backs. One's probable, two are out. That's probably why they're not as strong defensively. Some guys graduated and all these injuries. The problem is when a defensive stud gets injured, you don't even know who it is. You don't know he's the star of the defense. I couldn't name the Michigan, the best defensive player in Michigan. I don't have a clue. All I know is the quarterback and the running back. That's it. And they're fine. But otherwise, I mean, Dick Butkus is not out there. You don't know. Indiana, a lot of injuries, a lot of questionables. Iowa, see, quarterback Labus, but he's not their starter. McNamara is, so, to put him on here, who gives a fuck? A couple of receivers are questionable. Iowa State, a tight end is questionable. Again, who knows? Kansas, some running backs out, but he's been out since August 2nd. So he's not even part of the formula because they've been playing without him. Kansas State, nothing. Kent State, Kentucky. Liberty keep your eye on Liberty. They're a very explosive team. They got the Coastal Carolina coach, and they've been late. They're an A team scoring like 40 points a game. So keep your eye on Liberty. They're not playing this week, or they're playing a high school team. But keep your eye on them. When they start playing the Z teams in their conference laying 20, we're going to put a lock around that. LSU, Goodwin. Do we know Goodwin, Bobby, is a running back? He's questionable. L-Tech Bachmeyer from Boise is the quarterback is questionable with the shoulder. He's not very good. Louisville, Maryland, UMass, Memphis. The only injuries are two kickers. How do you? Both your kickers are your only injured players. Miami looks fine. No Van Dyke. Miami of Ohio. Michigan, like I said, I couldn't tell you. Two wide receivers are questionable. Two running backs, but not the main running backs, are questionable. Two DBs questionable. Two backup quarterbacks. So who gives a fuck? Michigan State, I have no idea. Minnesota's got a shitload of injuries. 3 linebackers are questionable. A DL, I don't know. Ole Miss, 2 wide receivers questionable. Another one's 3 of them are questionable, and a tight end. 2 tight ends. Jesus. Old Mississippi State, 2 running backs are questionable. 2 tight ends are out. Let's see. Oh, big Nebraska. We've got both their quarterbacks questionable. Heinrich Himmler questionable with undisclosed, and Sims, the guy who really sucks from Georgia Tech, is questionable with an ankle. So they might be playing their 3rd string quarterback. We'll keep an eye on that. That could be a lock under if they're playing their 3rd string quarterback against Michigan. North Carolina. Nah, not much. The Fighting Irish, tight end out, defensive lineman out, kicker out, tight end out, wide receiver out. Nobody ever heard of. Ohio State's off this week. Oklahoma, their backup quarterback has a knee. Who cares? Oregon's fine. Oregon State's fine. Penn State, 3 receivers questionable, and their backup quarterback. Who cares? Pitt's starting quarterback's questionable. Jerkovich. They look like shit. They have a very low-scoring offense and a good defense. Rice, Jay Daniels, the quarterback, who's been playing very well, is questionable Saturday. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I like Rice over East Carolina, who's not a very good team, but not without Daniels. This is where, when I tell you, look at the team, and then you get it, you now have to look at the injury, and here's the point. Here's Daniels. We can't play Rice if Daniels doesn't play. If he plays, we can play him. So you got to make sure that at least your stars are playing. I don't know. Like San Diego State, their wide receivers questionable. I'm not going to bet or not bet the game because the wide receiver is questionable. I don't care about him. San Jose State, only if Corbero, the quarterback, was questionable or out, that would make a difference. The other guys, you just don't know. South Carolina, South Florida. Gary Bohannon, quarterback, is out with the shoulder, but he's been out since September 9th. So they aren't very good. USC's lucky. They only got 1 injury to a wide receiver, and it's an undisclosed, so you don't know what that means. Maybe the Cam Rising's doctor's looking at him. Well, we're not sure what to do with him. Syracuse, 4 guys out, 1 receiver, 1 tight end, an O lineman, and another tight end. Now, the last tight end's been out since August 8th. We don't care. The only meaningful injury is Jones, the wide receiver, is out as of September 23rd. So they've been playing with him. That's it. The O-line and the other receiver are questionable. So I'm sure they'll play against Clemson. Tennessee looks healthy. A couple of linemen. Texas is healthy. A&M, Wegman out for the year, thanks to Bobby Bowe, and that's about it. TCU, no injuries at all to TCU. Wow. UTEP, quarterback is questionable. Hardison. Texas State, nothing. Texas Tech. Tyler Shaw, the quarterback, is out till late November. So be careful playing Texas Tech. We'll need to see the new quarterback. Normally, these Texas Tech quarterbacks can light it up, even if Baker Mayfield couldn't start. I love how they can't start and they go somewhere else. Mahomes, I don't think he started right away. He went there. So they load up with these really good passing quarterbacks. So It wouldn't surprise me if the backup is just as good as the starter. UTSA, Frank Harris, probable, but I don't think they play this week. So they're getting Frank Harris back finally with the toe injury. That's good news if you want to bet UTSA. But again, they're not. I guess their next game is October 7th next week. Toledo, DeQuan Finn, very good quarterback, questionable at the shoulder. You don't want to bet Toledo if he's not playing, at least not till we see it. They are 11.5-point favorites over Northern Illinois, who's got a pretty good defense. So you've got to be careful with Toledo. You got to be careful with Toledo without the quarterback. It says shoulder, so is it his throwing shoulder? Tulane, they got their quarterback back. That's good news. UCLA is very healthy. Lou Lafayette, their quarterback is out. Woolridge. So they are a very good team, very high scoring, but not without their quarterback. So we'll have to keep an eye on their backup. I got them on here. They're playing Minnesota, and they're getting 11.5. But they're not an over team without the quarterback. So this is almost a Minnesota bet, but they're so bad. Maybe it's an under bet because Minnesota can't score. Although they did score last week against, what was it? Northwestern. And Northwestern lit them up in the fourth quarter for 21 points. It'll be a tough one there without we'll see who the backup is. So we'll watch. Vegas, Brunfold, their quarterback's questionable. They play, so be careful on the Hawaii over quarterback questionable, Brumfield. And Utah, Rising, questionable. That's all that matters. And we're not going to know till tomorrow, 2 hours before game time, if the fucking doctor lets him play. Vanderbilt, A.J. Swan, their quarterback's questionable with an elbow. Be careful there. He's a good quarterback. Virginia, Musket, I don't know if that's the quarterback or not. VTech, their quarterback, Wells, they got him from Marshall, is questionable with an ankle. We'll have to wait and see. I think they do play this week. Washington is healthy, pretty much. Defensive lineman here, a safety there, nothing really. Washington State, they're fine. West Virginia, they're fine. Western Kentucky, 3 wide receivers. 2 wide receivers are questionable. One's out, but we don't know if these are good wide receivers or shit wide receivers. Wisconsin, the whole team's out with Wisconsin. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 guys on their injury list, but most of them are questionable. They got 4 outs. Yeah, and the rest are questionable. So I don't know. They're playing games there. And Wyoming, not much. So pretty good. So not a lot of injuries, but you must check that. If the quarterback's out, that's critical. That's probably the most important, unless it's a Lawrence Taylor or, a Ray Lewis. Those guys, yeah. But if it's, like if Steve Young's out for Carolina, then we don't really care. I'd prefer the backup. I'd prefer Andy Dalton. And I really don't know what the coach is thinking by not. This is perfect. You have Dalton. He can play at least the first 6-8 games. You could actually maybe win. You're not going to win with Steve Young, and you're not going to win with Richardson, and you're not going to win with C.J. Stroud. I mean, Houston might like C.J. Stroud, but he ain't winning, and he's not putting up a lot of points. If we look at Stroud, for what team is he in? I always get that confused between Houston and Indy. He's on Houston. All right, they're still an under offense, so he might be throwing for yards. They're not getting points. No, they played Pittsburgh. I got a 14-10. So CJ Stroud, but he's not scoring. I'll give Tug that credit. They're at least scoring 30, 40 points a game now. Now, a lot of last week was not Tug. It was the running backs. They had one guy had 10 carries for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Well, that ain't Tug. And that's what happens in the NFL. They start handing the ball off, and Denver couldn't even stop those guys. So we'll see. So that's pretty much football. Any questions or comments, let me know. Anyway, so I got a pro lock, college lock, free picks. So we go through the free picks. Florida, Kentucky under 50.5, and we got Arkansas getting 12.5 because A&M's quarterback's out. And I don't think their backup is that strong. And our free picks in the pros, we've got Green Bay tonight, home dog. Don't forget. And then we got Seattle as a road dog, which we love. So that's that. This should be a very good week for a big teaser. 9, 10 teams, 7 teams. My site is loaded with game and a lot of different ones. If I got LSU, I only got it in one teaser. Even Arkansas, I got in one teaser. That's it. I don't have it in multiple teasers. I got too many games. There's one team I got in 2 teasers, and I don't even think it's the lock. It's another incredibly strong game that I got in 2 teasers. But I did mix my pro lock in 2 teasers. Keep in mind there's a London game, Atlanta and Jacksonville. For some reason, they made Jacksonville the favorite here. This is the problem. They look at Atlanta, Detroit. They lose 20-6. So what do? They make Jacksonville the favorite. Excuse me, but Jacksonville just got their ass kicked by Houston. Why is Jacksonville the favorite? How the fuck do you lose to Houston? At least Atlanta lost at Detroit. Jacksonville lost at home to Houston, and I warned you about it. Houston beat them at Jacksonville last year. Now, I was half joking and half serious going, so keep on. But basically, we can't trust Trevor Lawrence as a favorite. What do you got? You got Trevor Lawrence as a favorite. In London against Atlanta. What are you, fucking nuts? How you could bet Jacksonville? Forget taking Atlanta. How can you bet Jacksonville now? Unbelievable. Anyway, so that's what we got coming on. Again, now you got to leave the Cam Rising bet. It's either going to be take Cam and the points or go under because they don't have an offense and their defense is Georgia strong. So keep that in mind. But they shut down UCLA 14-7. And that's when I thought about it. I didn't know until too late. I had the under in that game circled but didn't bet it. Because I said, with that defense, you got to play him as an under. I even said it on the Saturday class. All right, so let's go to economics. So when we look at economics, the gold price is $18.62. But this is the paper gold price. as Egon so eloquently put it, it's the paper gold price. So when we look at the FX, so we can see the dollar against this is why gold's down, is because the dollar's stronger. Here it is against the euro. So they look at the euro, and if the dollar is stronger, for some reason, which makes no sense to me, gold goes down. It's not correlated. This is zero. This is at 1 cent going to zero. Gold is money. Gold's an asset. The price of gold has never been established because it's paper price. The physical price has never been established, which is about to be established. So why does the price of the dollar versus the euro, which is another, all of them are going to zero. So it doesn't matter. Take your pick. Why would that? So the dollar got stronger against the euro, forced the gold price down. What's the correlation? There isn't a correlation. What the fuck? Some sort of here. So there's really I don't see the correlation. Is there a correlation between the mantle card and the dollar? If the dollar's stronger, does the mantle card go down? See, the dollar's not stronger in the fact that it's worth more. So this is worth 2 cents. It's still worth 2 cents. This didn't go up to now it's worth 10 cents. So if this is still 2 cents and it's still being heavily inflated, who gives a fuck if it goes up versus the euro, another heavily inflated dollar? It doesn't matter. What is the point? See, it doesn't make sense, right? Why would it go down because this went up versus another current? Now, if this goes up in football, if all of a sudden we go, you know what? Arizona, they got better. They beat Dallas. Yeah, that their value has gone up because they beat Dallas. Okay, we could understand that. Then the value of Atlanta went up. But in this situation, what does it have to do with gold? So the dollar isn't stronger per se as far as being stronger. See, people think that gold only goes up when the dollar's in trouble. And if the dollar is not in trouble against the euro, then it's not in trouble. Therefore, the gold price should go down because you don't need gold. It's only used when the dollar's in trouble. The whole thing's unrealistic, and it's a very bad way to look at it, because gold is money. The dollar is not. The dollar is paper currency with the value of zero. Gold has a value, but we don't know what it is because it's not been valued in physical, only in paper. So to say gold's only good when the dollar is invalid, because we'll look at, what do you want to look at? Microsoft's $100, $200 in a share. So that's good because that would be good in a good economy. Well, we don't have a good economy. So that's why they keep making the stock market look good, because of the crash of 29. So if you realize the stock market's bad, you'll get scared and you'll buy gold, and they don't want you in gold because they can't control you, and they keep you in dollars. And they keep you in stocks and bonds, which are dollars, real estate trusts, which are dollars. So they keep you in dollar instruments. At the banks would all collapse if the economy collapsed, because basically the money's worthless now, but they don't want you to know that. So that's really what the problem is. So, hey, James. So that's really the problem is it has no correlation to gold. Whether the economy is good or bad should have no relevance on gold. Gold's its own asset. It is money, but since we don't know the physical value of it, you really don't know what it is. And, the bullshit paper gold COMEX doesn't give you a real price. They want to keep it down on purpose. So no matter what happens, if we go to the moon tomorrow, they'll keep the price down. If the sun doesn't shine, they'll keep the price down because that's what they want. They want you in the dollar no matter what. So it's not correlated at all. Just the same as if your house goes up in value if the dollar's strong or the dollar's weak. Now, normally when the dollar's weak, everything goes up because it takes more dollars to buy it. So theoretically your car and your house go up in value because it takes more dollars to buy them, just like Oreos and Cheerios. It takes more dollars to buy them because the dollar's deflated. But things they can control, like the price of oil and the price of gold, they control. So you don't really know what the real price is. So when you see gold as it is at, what was it, 18 something? The gold price today down $11. The gold price today is $18.63. So you're telling me the value of gold went down, even though the value of the dollar is down, but the value of the dollar versus the value of the euro is up. So if the dollar is stronger against the euro, why does gold go down? Why would it in physical world? You still have heavy inflation. You still have a dollar going to zero. Now, gold, even if the dollar was strong, you would still own it. It's always protection. And if you ever got it to physical price, it would be much higher than it is. It'd be $20,000. So let's call it this. Let's go to eBay. Let's go to my eBay. So here's our Joe Montana at $125,000 for his rookie. So would the price go up or down because of the dollar? No, it's totally irrelevant of what the dollar does. That price is 125 because the market says so. We have this Mickey Mantle card, $60,000 for a 1965 PSA 9, not a 10. If it was a 10, you'd add at least 1 0 to it. It'd be at least 600,000, if not $1 million. How do you develop the price of the card? By the free market. There's enough demand to say for this guy to sell it for 60 grand, there's a buyer at 60 grand. That's how the market works, right? It's an asset. It's got nothing to do with the economy and nothing to do with the dollar. It's a free market. I have a Mantle PSA 9 65 tops, and I love the 65s with the pennants. Bobby, why didn't you play in 65? I could have got one of you with the pennant, with the pirate pennant. I like that. So that's how prices are developed. There's the buyer, there's the seller. If the seller agrees to give you 60,000, you have a trade. I get the money, you get the card. Everybody's happy. What's different about that from gold? Nothing. Do I want gold? Am I going to sell it? Well, wait, let me see what the dollar is. Is the Mantle guy looking at what the dollar's doing? It's still $60,000. Is it because the dollar is higher than the euro, does that affect the price of this card? No, it's between the buyer and the seller. And there's multiple buyers and multiple sellers, but there's more buyers than sellers because it's very hard to find a 1965 PSA 9 Mantle card or the $125,000 Joe Montana rookie card PSA 10. There's not a lot of them, and there's enough buyers that this guy is selling it for $125,000. This is free market. This is what the free market means. It has nothing to do with the dollar or what's going on in the dollar. So to say gold is affected by the dollar or is only good when the dollar is going bad or the economy is going bad is full of shit. The Montana card doesn't matter if it's a good economy or a bad economy or what the dollar's doing or not. Now, if there's heavy depression going on in 1929 or 1987 or 1980 or 72 or whatever, pick a year, 2008, what's the value of that card? What happens is the value of the card probably doesn't drop, but is there buyers for it? Does somebody have 125 grand? Maybe the same person who buys it now would have bought it, even if, let's say Warren Buffett wants to buy it. Well, he's not really affected by anything until his dollars go to zero, and then he'll be affected. But let's say he's got gold and silver and he's protected and he wants this Montana card. He's going to pay it no matter what. He'll still buy it when all the shit hits the fan. Now, the fact that the economy's down would hurt it, but with gold, it's not really the price of gold should not be moving down based on the dollar versus the euro. And that's basically, so you're saying there's no market in gold unless the dollar goes down, which is bullshit. You still have the market for Montana. You still have the market for Mano. You still have the market for gold. That doesn't go anywhere. If we want gold because it's an asset and we want to get out of our dollars because they're killing them and they're making them worthless, it doesn't fucking matter. We're not buying gold necessarily because the dollar's going to zero, although that helps. That's a good reason, but we're really getting out of dollars. So if the dollar wasn't in trouble, would we be buying gold? Probably, because we know, this is okay. If it was a gold-backed currency, like what the BRICS are what the BRICS are rolling out soon, then you don't need to buy gold for the reason of the dollar going out. However, they want to get paid gold for their oil. So as the demand for gold goes up, that makes the price. The same as the demand for the Montana or the Mantle card goes up, makes the price go up. We've seen this card for 100,000. Now it's 125. The demand's high. This is a hedge against inflation. The Montana rookie card, the Mantle, excellent hedges against inflation. I would rather buy a bunch of gold than one Mantle card for 60,000, but it's certainly going to hold its value, obviously go up because it's priced in dollars. So what'll happen is Joe Montana's 125 grand, right? The dollar goes out. What's the value of the Joe Montana card? We don't know. It now needs to be valued in the currency, which will be gold. It might be an ounce of gold might buy you the card. More than likely, that's all you'll need. You got to keep in mind that ounce of gold is going to be very, very important, and you'll be worth very, very strong. So the seller of the Montana card who needs money, and you offer him an ounce of gold, he might take it. Once the dollar goes to zero, and now things aren't priced in dollars, so it just takes time. The dollar's going to zero, then the prices go to zero. So now the Mantle card's worth nothing because there's no dollars, because the dollar's lost its value. There's no demand for it. So I ask you, did the demand, let's put it another way, did the demand for gold go down today? Does nobody want gold today, causing the price to drop $20 yesterday, $10 today, down to $18.70? Was there not only no demand for it, but people selling it to lower their price? We don't know because it's not a physical price, it's a paper price. Did anybody sell their gold? Probably not, any more than on a normal day when I go to my coin store and the guy picks up 3 or 4 ounces from people needing money and they sell the gold. Well, that doesn't really affect the price. And if I go buy it, so when they sell it, the price should drop $1. When I buy it, it should go back up $1. That's all that really should be happening. But the price of gold is the same market. It's the same market as Montana, as Mantle. It's the same market, right? The 60 grand is a market. Oh, God. So it's the same market, right? There's a market for the Mantle card. There's a market for Montana. There's a market for Rice. There's a market for Walter Payton, Bobby Orr, and there's a market for gold. And it's based on buyers and sellers, supply and demand. That's what it means. So if I have a Mantle 9 card and I want to sell it and you want to give me 60,000, we have a market. If there's no buyers at 60,000 and nobody wants it, there's no market. Then it becomes a zero. But we know with Mantle and we know with Montana, there's definitely a market for it. This is why you buy all the Mantle cards. So here's a World Series card, 1965. PSA 10, look at this, $48,000. And I've seen this card several times, and I didn't buy it because I wanted his regular card. And I could have got it probably cheap, but I doubt it was a 10. Look at the fucking thing. Just because it's Mantle hits a home run, Mantle clutch home run, and they win the World Series in 64. That card's 48,000 because it's a Mantle card. I've seen checklists that Mantle's on the checklist and it's 20, 30,000. So is there a market for gold? Well, you bet your ass there is. There's a market for Mantle. There's a market for everything. But it isn't. Here's where the disconnect comes in. So here's the price of the Maple Leaf today, 1953, because the price of gold's down. This is chasing paper gold, but it's physical. This is where we come in and say, thank you very much, I'll take it, because I know that's not the real price. The real price, you got to add at least 10 to it, is 19,000 for the ounce of gold. In physical world, you're trying to sell it in paper gold, not physical gold. And I don't understand for the life of me why the physical is following the paper market. Why isn't there a physical gold price, not a paper gold? Why does everybody follow JP Morgan? I can't understand for the life of me why you would follow the JP Morgan paper price for coins. It makes no sense to me. The head of JP Morgan Gold Futures Desk just got convicted of manipulating trade. That's happened about 5 or 6 times, James. I have an article where 3 guys got convicted of it. Problem is they'll get convicted. Do they ever go to jail? And all they end up doing is paying fines, which JP Morgan has the money because they're the ones making all the money on these phony derivative trades. So I don't know what's going on. I think it's just algorithms that when the dollar goes up, as the dollar went up against the euro from 90 cents to 95 cents. So it's almost even with the euro. Why it's below the euro and below the British pound is beyond me. That makes no sense because those were at least the reserve currency, supposedly. Why those would be priced more? I mean, that's how Madoff the whole system is, as I tell you. That's a bullshit price, the FX rate. It's about trade or they can sell their items for more money or some bullshit like that. So keep in mind, everything is a market. So there's a bigger market for the Mantle there's a market for the Mantle PSA 9, 1965, and it's 60,000. And as the dollar goes out, the value goes to zero in dollars, and then in the BRICS currency backed by gold, it'll be worth maybe 20,000 gold dollars. So that's what'll happen as the gold dollars roll out. The prices drop because it's in gold. I don't have to worry about it getting fucked. Right now, I got to worry about the inflation. So this 60,000, if we're back in, in 1972, you could probably get this card for $25. But $25 was a lot of money in 1972. I remember gas. I remember I was in my dad's car, and I grew up in the 60s. I was just a lad betting football. And I think gas was like 10 cents a gallon or something like that. And that shows you how much the dollar's inflated and how much the dollar's lost value. But there is no correlation. A Mantle price is between the Mantle buyer and the Mantle seller. It has nothing to do with the economy. Neither does the price of physical gold. It has nothing to do with what the dollar's doing versus the euro. It's total apples, and they're all individual markets. What the Mantle does at 60,000 has nothing to do with the Joe Montana at 125. They're total separate auctions. There's total different buyers and sellers. I like the Montana. I don't like them. Everybody likes Mantle, but I might like the Montana and not like the Rice. Or I might like the Montana and not like the Elway. Something like that, right? So I don't like the Elway. I like the Montana, so there's a bigger. That's why his card gets 125 and Elway's card gets like 40 or 50. There's more buyers. He's more popular. That's why I tell you guys, when you go to a card show, you want to get Mahomes or Burrow, don't get the rookies. Don't get cards that nobody knows. There's no market for it. So this is the fat lady. This is the 60-year-old fat lady at the bar. Is like Tom Jones or Tom Smith 1965 baseball card. I mean, if you look at some of these, if you go 1965 PSA 10s or PSA 9s, there's guys you never heard of, and their cards are worth $200 for a PSA 10. Just about any PSA 10 65 is going to have some value, no matter who it is. It could be Joe the Snowman. You're still going to have $500 value. But it's its own, the bigger stars have more demand, get more price. So it's all about demand. This goes away because nobody wants it, right? 90 countries are out of they don't want to deal with the dollar. They want the BRICS gold-backed currency. And Russia's got enough gold, as does China, to have a gold-backed currency. And the price has to go up. So all this bullshit of the dollar's stronger versus the euro, knocking gold down, to me, is the deal of the century. I'm going to have to go buy gold tomorrow. I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. So everybody thinks they're going to wake up and gold will be 10,000 an ounce or 15,000 an ounce, which is what's going to happen. But when you wake up and you see this, you just smile. You're like, okay, I can get along with another $5,000 out of my safe and buy gold with it at these prices. A fucking joke. And the problem is the coin store is so stupid, they'll lower their prices to COMEX. They don't get it. They look at the paper price and sell physical gold in the paper price. And they'll put this little premium on it to think that'll make everything okay. I mean, we're dealing with idiots here. You do realize that. That'd be like me getting a paper market, derivative market for this, and the price is $5 for the paper Canadian club. But this is not paper. This is real. This is physical. This is still going to be $60 at the grocery store, if you can find it. I can't find this 12-year-old. I can find Canadian club, but not. This is a special 12-year-old in 1997. So, at about 30 years. So it's almost a 50-year-old. This could be worth a lot of money at a 50-year-old whiskey. That's a very limited 12-year-old. I mean, they're specifically saying age 12 years, and the regular whiskey you take off the shelves age, a couple years. Everything's aged because they put it in a big bowl, and it's basically just taking potatoes and just purifying them and adding some shit to it. And it takes 6 months probably to solidify it. And then they do whatever they add it to. But that's really what you're drinking, is just aged potatoes and aged corn and, all that kind of stuff. With wine, it's different. It's just the grapes. They smash it, they age them, and then you drink really old grapes that taste great. They're sweet. But why do the coin stores keep thinking like this? This price they're out of their mind. This is 1991. It's probably cheaper today. If we go into, let's see what a 1 ounce gold coin's going for today. Yeah, so this is as of right now. So 1994, 1999. Krugerrand. Why is the Krugerrand 1947? I'll go buy this Krugerrand all day for 1947. I don't need the American Eagle at 1989. I'm paying $50 more or $40 more. I'm paying $40 more for an Eagle. I'm buying 1 ounce of gold. Don't give a fuck what country it is. I'm buying the gold. That's what I always say when I go to the coin store. I'm buying an ounce of gold. I'm buying an ounce of silver. I don't care what the fuck it is, as long as it's an ounce. Why would I pay more because it's uncirculated or proof? I don't want to pay more for it. I want the ounce. When gold goes to 20,000 and I bring in a coin and it says 1 ounce of gold, I want 20,000 for it. They don't care if it's uncirculated or proof. Are they going to give me more for it? No, they're going to say, well, that's an ounce of gold. Here's what gold's going. And it doesn't say 1 ounce of Krugerrand, 1 ounce of Maple Leaf, 1 ounce of American Eagle. It's 1 ounce of gold. So everything is a market. This is the marketplace. This shirt is a market. It's demand. It's been pretty lucky for me since I stumbled on it on Sunday and won all my games on Sunday. I was happy with. So my avocado is a market. This is 99 cents. It has nothing to do with the price of gold versus the euro. Why does the gold have an issue of the dollar versus the euro? It's bullshit. It's an excuse, but it's a stupid excuse. All they did was they want the price lowered because they want to keep the Ponzi scheme going that the dollar's okay. And the stocks are fine. And we're doing good against the euro. And look, gold's going down. As Egon said, people in the U.S., except for us, don't buy gold. Yeah, we're the only ones. Well, we're not the only ones. I do know when I go to the gold store, there's other people like us out there buying gold. But generally, we're kind of, in the secrets, paying cash. We don't want anybody to know. That's what we do. We'll be the winners because it'll save us and we'll get out of dollars. But the government, if the government admits they've failed, then they look like idiots. So they don't want to look bad, right? Big Baller Whiskey. Canadian Club 12-year, yeah. But that's what it is. So everything is an individual market. Is there the only thing that drives demand on the Mantle card or the Montana card is people who like Montana or Mantle who want to buy it. As long as there's a buyer, they can sell it. They can't sell the Mantle card for 60 grand if nobody wants to buy it for 60 grand. Now, maybe there's less buyers because I'm more interested to buy gold and silver now than I am a Mantle card because that's money in that. See, so it'd be like buying the Mantle card at 5,000 before it went to 60. That's what gold is. So the mantle card's already gone up to 60, right? So if I buy it now, where's it going to go? Maybe I'm sure it'll go to 100. It's mantle, but it's already gone up. Where gold is still here waiting to go to 60. So a mantle card PSA 9 is worth 60 grand, but gold's worth 2,000. Does that make any sense to anybody? I guarantee you there's a much bigger market and demand for gold around the world than a mantle PSA 9 1965. In the US, there's mantle demand, but not in the whole world. In China, do they know who Mickey Mantle is? In Russia, well, Russia, they probably do, but that's the difference. In Saudi Arabia, do they know who Mickey Mantle is? Well, probably everybody knows Mickey Mantle, but the point is, the real smart guys, if you went to the sheik of Saudi Arabia and you kind of were talking to him at dinner and you pull out the mantle card, he'd go, Mickey Mantle, yeah, how much? How much for it? He'd probably know, he'd be smart enough to know mantle. But I mean, everybody has demand for gold. And therefore, when you see the mantle for 60 or the Montana for 100, you don't think gold's going to go there? You don't think there's demand for gold? They're buying tons of gold. The central banks, Russia has 32,000 tons of gold. Like, there's no demand. China's got 60,000 at least. There's no demand. Every central bank in the world is buying tons of gold. There's no demand, and these are banks buying it. So who's selling it? Who's selling it at a point to make it drop $50? Or basically said, what, 1880, and it was at 1980. Who is selling it? Nobody. Nobody's selling. They're all buying. Everybody's buying at these cheap prices. Everybody realizes the prices are cheap. Everybody's buying at these prices. Keep in mind, nothing affects the mantle market. Nothing affects the Joe Montana market. That PSA 10 I've had on there for 2 months now. It's 125,000. It's sitting in my watch list. It's been sitting for 2 months. It's still 120. It hasn't gone down. We'll look in 2 more months. It'll still be sitting there, and the mantle will still be sitting there at those prices. I don't see the guy lowering it to 75,000. He's got it. He moved it from 100 to 125. So what do you think gold? Gold is far more people, but it's far more important because it's also, if I have the Montana card, and it's I bought it for 125, and now the dollar collapses. What do I do? What do I get? The only thing I can do is trade it for gold, right? But if I have the gold, not only am I buying it at 1,900 now, that it's going to 19,000, but I don't need to sell it for gold to eat and pay my bills. I already have the money. So not only do I have the money, but it's extremely cheap at 2,000 an ounce. That's the other kicker. So if I got the Rolex, the mantle, or the Montana, it's not good to me. I have to sell it for some medium of exchange money to pay the bills and eat and go to the restaurants and all that, drive my car, buy gas, all that I need. So the mantle card has to be sold to get whatever currency is going to be used to buy all this stuff. I can't use the mantle card to buy it. So while the Rolex and the mantle are nice to have because you got a lot of money and you can afford the cards, you buy the gold and silver because you are going to need money to eat, right? I want to buy my avocado. Well, I can't do it with the mantle card, but I can do it with my silver. But then it becomes, what is the new medium of exchange? And is it backed by gold? So the most important thing I teach you is, if any country comes out with this bullshit paper, crap, toilet paper, the only thing with value is if it's backed by gold. If it's backed by gold, it's perfectly fine. If it's not backed by gold, it's going to zero. It's Titanicing. it'll be worth zero 100% of the time. So that's what we have. It's going to be zero. So what's the new money they're going to try to mate off us with? And if it's not backed by gold, it's still worth shit. And the only thing you're going to want is BRICS dollars backed by gold. So we all got to start dating Russian women to get them to buy us the BRICS dollars backed by gold. Fortunately, I am dating a Russian woman, so and a Ukraine woman, just in case. But I can certainly give, but I don't even know if I can give them US dollars. I'm going to have to give them gold and silver to get the BRICS money backed by gold because the dollar has no value in Russia. I can't go to, if I went to Russia now, my debit and credit cards and my money, I can go with $1,000 in cash would be worthless. I wouldn't be able to exchange it or use my credit cards or debit because they're in dollars. They don't accept dollars. So I don't know who sanctioned who here. Did we sanction them or did they sanction us? I'm not 100% sure who sanctioned who. This gives Russia this, they can say, look, you sanction us, so we're coming out with a gold-backed currency. What the fuck are you going to do about it? So they can't nuke Russia because they're coming out with a gold currency as China because we're sanctioning them. So that's the only time I kind of argue with Mark McGuire or is it Egon or somebody saying about war with Taiwan. There won't be a war with Taiwan. It'll never happen. China needs us to buy their goods, so that they're not going to go to war with us. We want to go to war with them because they're coming out with gold-backed currency. And we are, see, even though we're the reserve currency, it's worthless. It's worth nothing. So you can call it, if the world's stupid enough to accept it, doesn't mean it has a value. It's worthless. This is not worth anything. This dollar is not worth anything. It has no value. There is no demand for it. It's kind of forced that we can go to Meijer's or Target or Kroger's and use it to go buy avocados because they have to take it. So when we go with our debit card, and I love it's cute when you go to Kroger's and we don't take money. You're taking my debit card, that's money. Just because you're not getting this, don't get confused to think that the debit card isn't money. Because if I don't have this in my checking account that my debit card's plugged into, you don't get money from me. So it is still money. It's just easier to walk around with a card and saying, here, I'm going to pay you $62 with my card, which is really dollars in my saving or my checking account. That's what's really paying you is the money in my checking account is paying you $62 for tuna fish and bananas and avocados. That's exactly what it is. So people get confused. It's not digital, it's electric. Digital is you don't have this, but you cannot get away from having paper dollars because of the medium of exchange. You need to go to a grocery store and a restaurant to get food. You need to eat. You need to pay your electric bills and your rent. You can only do that if there's some form of medium of exchange. And that's it. So you can't, if they want to come out with CBDCs and say that's a medium of exchange, it's not going to be accepted. I'm not going to accept it. You can't pay for it on Teaserking. I don't care what happens. I'm always going to have PayPal until I can't get the PayPal into the bank and get it out. So until I can do that, I can't. If I can't do it, I can't do it. Then that's a different story. But the fact that the gold price goes down has nothing to do with the demand for gold going down. And the paper price, the FX price, which is totally manipulated, has nothing to do with if it's stronger to the euro, then therefore gold price goes down. Right now, it's the sale of the century. You can buy gold $100 cheaper than you could a month ago. So at 19, let's say you paid $20.20 for it, $20.30 for it. Now you can get it at 1990. I don't see the gold going now. It'll be a little cheaper at the store because eBay, if I'm selling it, I include the auction price at the store. So he's always, if this is 1990, it's 1960 at my store. No, it's not my store. It's where I buy it at. But if the Krugerrand's 1940, I can probably get the Krugerrand for 1900. So it's worth a drive over there. So instead of paying 2,000 an ounce, I can pay 1,900. If I buy 5 ounces, that's $500 I just saved. I can buy a quarter ounce with it. So I get a free quarter ounce if I buy 5 ounces, let's say. So, it's a free $100. All we care about is to buy as much physical as we can because we know the dollar's going to zero. But it has no effect on the Mantle card, on the Montana card, on gold. It has no effect on the FX. It doesn't matter. It's totally meaningless. The dollar, the value of the dollar didn't go up. It went up versus the euro, which who gives a fuck? Is the dollar worth more? No. Then who gives a fuck? The dollar's still worth 2 cents. The fact that the euro is inflating and worth less than the dollar doesn't matter. But all I know is when I was in Portugal, it was even. The dollar and the euro were even money. Then it went to 90 cents. Did the euro get stronger? I highly doubt it. Now the dollar is coming back up to 95 cents. So it's gone up 5 cents on the euro. Did the dollar get stronger? No, they're still printing $1 trillion a month or whatever. And the euro, they've got to print. It's the same thing. They have to keep printing for all the social, for the debt, for the Social Security, for the retirements, the pensions, all the bullshit that they need to print money for, because they want a socialist world. Well, fuck, we don't want a socialist world. We want an independent world. We want freedom. We don't want to be controlled. Oh, if you want your Social Security, you got to jump through 8 hoops. Well, fuck that. I don't want it. But I'm not going to be a socialist. I don't want to be a slave. Fuck that. I don't want the government controlling me any more than it does now. So that's the other reason we buy gold is freedom. But mostly the market is the market is the market. The Mantle market, the Montana market, the gold market are between the guy with the product and the guy who wants it. And it's free trade. I got a Mantle card. You want it? 60,000. You got 60,000? Fine. We made a trade. Yeah, but the dollar and the FX went from 90 to 95 for the euro. I don't give a fuck. Because it doesn't affect the value of this. This is still shit. If this is still worth 2 cents, then why would anybody be selling gold? Why would the gold price go down? What does that have to do with the fact this is worth 2 cents? And gold is not priced because this is shit. You're just getting out of this shit because you guys keep printing it to nothing. And that's the bottom line. That's what you got to understand. We're only getting into gold because we realize that this is out. There's no demand. Everybody's getting out. It's worthless. So what do? We got 100,000 worthless dollars. We either hold it until it goes to zero or we get the fuck out. So we're smart enough to get the fuck out. And then we say, well, but wait, we can't go anywhere. We can't buy the euro, the yen, the Swiss franc, the British pound, because they're the same people. They're worthless also. This is worth zero. If I had a British pound, it's worth zero. Here, I have a euro. I found this. Here's a $5 euro. Should I rip this up too? Because this is worth nothing also. Look how pretty they make it. They got the little holograms, and I don't know what this is. Anyways, this is a €5. Okay. You know what it's worth? 0. It's worth the same as this. So I can't sell 100,000 of this to buy 100,000 of this. Right? It doesn't make any sense. They're both crap. If I had a British pound or a Swiss franc, they would be worthless. So I have the money. What do I do with it? So the paper's out of the question. No, I can buy the Mano card for 60 grand and get out of paper into a Mano card. And there's high demand for the Mano card, but it's not money, it's an asset. So then what do I do when the dollar goes out? I'm covered, but I still need money, right? So if I buy gold, the Mano card is already 60 grand, but the gold's 2,000 or 1,900 or whatever now. So I'm buying that cheap. It makes it a better investment. My return on investment is huge. My cost is nothing compared to the Mano card and the Montana card. Those have already gone up, but the gold's being held down. So that's why I say get into gold and silver, because it's being held down. You can't lose. It's gonna go. Believe me, if Mano's 60,000, gold will be 60,000. So that's really what drives you to buy the gold, is that this is worthless and this is worthless, right? So there's no paper to go into to protect the 100 grand that you made working. So therefore you have to get out, and the only place to go is gold and silver or Mano Montana cards. I would prefer gold and silver because they're still $1,900, $2,000 an ounce, on its way up to 60, 80, 100,000 an ounce, where the Mano card, now I still have to sell it. The gold, I don't necessarily. So I guess the question is, so the shit hits the fan. I got a Mano card. We're 60 grand. PSA 9. It's graded. You're selling your house. Can I sell you the Montana card? Can I sell you the Mano card that I paid 60 grand for? It's now worth more because it was priced in this. 60,000 of these. So now these are worth 0. What is my Mano card worth? Well, we've got to price it in either new currency or gold. Can I buy your house with it? If you're a Mano guy, yes. But let's say you're from India and you never heard of Mickey Mano. You know about gold and silver, but you don't know about Mickey Mano. So can I buy your house? Probably not. They're going to look at it. What am I going to do with it? Because then they have to sell it. But if you give them gold, they have money. Everybody understands gold. So therefore, it's much more in demand than the Mano card worldwide. If I go to Switzerland and I bring the Mano card and I bring my ounce of gold, am I going to be able to sell my Mano card in Switzerland, in Amsterdam, in Austria? But I know I can sell my gold. I even have Austrian gold, and the Swiss doesn't make gold, surprisingly. Well, they make the little bars, the little 1 ounce bars that you see they're in the plastic, and they're like rectangular. I got 1/4 ounce of those. I prefer the coins. So Swiss makes the bars, not the coins, because I do have a Swiss bar, but not the James Bond big ones. So if you think, I don't buy the Trump silver, because what if I try to sell it to somebody who doesn't like Trump? I'm killing my market. But if I buy an Eagle, that's silver ounce, everybody will take that. Oh, it's the Eagle. It says an ounce of silver. I'll take it. And so that's really what it is. So if you have gold and silver, the chances of you selling it, and it is money, and you buying a house or a car with it, or you're in Switzerland and you need money, or whatever the currency is going to be used, you can give them gold and everybody will know what gold is. And nobody hates gold. Everybody loves gold. It's the color. It's limited. It's money. Everybody knows it. There's no Oh, I don't know what gold is. Maybe some idiots in America don't know what gold is. I've heard that where they offered a kid a candy bar or a tenth of an ounce of gold, and the kid took the candy bar. Well, he obviously doesn't know what it is, and he's probably hungry, and he'd rather, he's not worried about money. So if I was a 5-year-old kid, I probably would take the Kit Kat also over the gold. But if you asked any normal person, do you want a Kit Kat or do you want a quarter ounce of gold? Everybody's going to take it. Everybody knows about it. Daria knows, Jenna knows, Carmen knows, Irina, everybody who I know, Romania and Ukraine and Russia, they all know gold. Do they know mantle? Probably not, but they all know gold. Anyway, that's the key to it. So does it affected by the FX rate? Absolutely not, because it's its own market. So what they're saying is the dollar's worth more, so you don't need gold, so we're going to lower the price of gold. But the price of gold is settled between me and if I'm buying it, me and the seller. So when I go to the coin store, do I give a fuck what the FX rate is versus the euro to buy my gold? No, because I'm not buying my gold because of the price of the FX. I'm buying my gold to get out of the dollars. So if I still have 10,000 of these and I can buy 5 more ounces of gold, I'm buying the gold to get out of this. I don't give a fuck what the value is because I know it's going to zero. So that helps also. But even if it wasn't, I'd still want some gold, but I'd want it at a real price, which it's not. Why is a Rolex 50,000? But gold's too. I mean, nothing may, why is the mantle 60,000 and gold's 2,000? Are you fucking kidding me? So if you think about it in those terms, you realize that it's all bullshit. When I was 6, I found a 1901 French franc on the playground. I knew enough to keep it. I would think anything 1901 would be worth a lot of money now, even in condition. Look at the 1906 was a Tris Speaker that they made 6 of because he didn't like smoking and it was in a smoke bag. That's the card Gretzky and McNall paid a couple million. And then 5 years later, it was worth 10 million. And who knows what it's worth now? Oh, it's Hannes Wagner, I think. And it's shit condition. It's like a PSA 1 or 2. But guess what? There's only 5 or 6 of them out there, if they even have all 5 or 6. So, yeah, no, that's smart. I've always done that. Like I said, when I went to the card shows, I showed you my mantle and my ore. They are in mint condition. I was smart enough when I went to the card shows to buy the older cards and to buy the stars. So I was smart enough in the 90s. I just got married. My ex she was into sports too. We went to a card show. I was smart enough to get the Montana and Rice rookie cards in as mint condition as I could find. So we didn't want to get one and its corners were bent. We were smart enough, make sure the corners are good, the centering's good, and the picture's good. So we made sure we were trying to buy PSA 10s, but at the time they weren't graded, so we didn't know what a PSA 10 was, but we knew we wanted as close to mint condition as we could get. So that's what we did. That's why my cards are so they're all mint as much as I could get mint cards. We never did find a mint Jordan rookie. We looked at the 86 flares. There wasn't a whole lot of 86 flares that were really dead centered that we found. And we went and I got most of them, but very hard to find a center. Now, like the Brady's and LeBrons were easy. They're all centered and clear, and I'm not worried. I know those are 10s, but anyway, so that's what it's all about supply and demand. That's how the economy works. Like I said, with my prostitute example, a pretty girl, and she can have 10 boyfriends or she can prostitute herself, but there's demand for her because she's a pretty girl. And as long as there's demand, and then it becomes supply. How many pretty girls are out there that, well, you're too expensive. There's another pretty girl I can get. I don't have to pay as much for. or you date them, or they, instead of prostituting, well, I'm going to have, if they're smart, they'll have 10 boyfriends, as I said, and then go to the boyfriends. Well, I'd like some gold, and that's my favorite thing. And you start buying them gold, and then all 10 of the guys buy them gold, and there you go. And they're treated nice because she's the girlfriend. But why girls have one boyfriend? They're out of their fucking minds. They're idiots. It's especially a pretty girl. Like, you've got a lot of demand. There's a lot of, you're the mantle card. And there's a lot of people that want you. Don't settle for one guy. I just sit there and go, you are the dumbest person I've ever met in my life to sit there and have one boyfriend. I don't really get it. I think they're just, girls are about more safety and security. I mean, that's what I hear. Well, I'm safe with you and secure with you, and you're smart and you got gold, everything I need so I can survive. That's what the girl thinks. And, it's just pure stupidity that they're pretty and they want one boyfriend, or they're married. Why does anybody get married? I mean, then you got to fight for the divorce. So had I bought a bunch of gold when I was married and I got divorced, I would have had to give half the gold up to my ex. Like, what the fuck? So I'm kind of lucky that I got the cards and I kept all the cards. That was part of the settlement. She got the house, and then I got money and the cards and the painting. Well, one painting and stuff like that as the settlement. But she sold the house, and I still have the cards, and now I got a bunch of gold with it. So maybe I'll end up winning. But that's like, you just sit there. Like I said, I saw her at Chinese. It's a carry-out place. So I saw her there, and she just looked at me and walked out all upset, and I laughed. And why are you upset? Like, I didn't want to be with her. Who cares? One world. No, forget the prenup. Why get married? Why would you get married? In my mind, if I get married, then I can't go. If I marry Jenna, I can't date Daria. So why do I want to do that? Or I can't go see Irina. Why do I want to do that to myself? If I like 4 or 5 different girls, why would I want to marry one and then I can't date the others? That's ridiculous. So now you might not advertise to one that you have the other, but that's none of their business. And you go on with that. Now, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, and I take care of them both. But in my mind, if I marry one, then what do I do with the other one? Then I can't see the other one? Does that make sense? So I don't care about the prenup, because then you're locked into one. That's why I say the pretty girls should never have one boyfriend or get married unless, because first of all, there's nothing wrong with having 10 girlfriends or 10 boyfriends. If you're a girl or a boy, there's nothing wrong with it. Why can't you have friends? But to be locked into one and saying, well, I have a boyfriend, I can't talk to you or I can't date you, is ludicrous. It's insane. It's like saying I got an ounce of gold. I got a U.S. ounce of gold. I can't buy the Maple Leaf, and I can't buy the Cougaran, and I can't buy the Philharmonic because I have a 1 ounce Eagle. And that's about how stupid it is. Like, we like the diversity, right? I mean, what does Bobby do all the time? He likes all the different silvers. So do I. I like that I have a Cougaran and a Maple Leaf and a dollar and a Philharmonic. I like the diversification. Well, of course, with women, you like the diversification. I want a blonde. I want a brunette. I want this age. I want that age. I want this look, that look. So we like a lot of different things. We like different cars. I like a Ferrari. I like a Mercedes. I like a Toyota. I mean, so to just have one is insane. And so the girl can have 10 boyfriends, and the boyfriend wants to get married for some stupid reason, gets married, and then he can't see the girl because he's married, and she's like, oh, I'll replace you. I'll find another guy who wants to date me and is willing to see other people. What's wrong with that? I don't understand why you have to be locked to one person. I can't, never been able to understand that. James, Teaser King has a whole lot of love way down inside. Well, yes, I do. I have a very nice soul, and I'm very loving and caring. And the girls know that, and that's why they don't mind. But yeah, I love Daria and Jenna the same. They're two different ones in Ukraine and ones in Russia, but I help them both. I love them both. So, what do you do when you have kids? I love my first daughter and I love my second daughter. Like, well, sorry, second daughter, I can't love you because I love my first daughter. I mean, the whole thing's fucking insane to say I'm going to love one person. That's like, as I said, it's like, well, I like Chinese food, so I can't eat ribs and I can't eat steak because I like Chinese food. I mean, it's not the way we are. We like multiple things. And maybe I'm just broad enough to see that and other people can't. But if I see a nice girl, I want to talk to her, I talk to her. If she asks me, do I have a girlfriend, I tend to say yes, but not serious. And for her to ask, she's interested. And then I say, well, this is what I like to do. And then I leave it to her to say, yes, that's okay, or no, that's not. And then off they go. But because I treat them nice, there's this girl I met from Hungary, and she said to me, just treat me nice. I don't care. Just be nice to me. So she's obviously been hurt a lot. And, well, that's never a problem. And that's what you get. But people, I mean, I just tell the girls, I just want you to be happy. If you have that mindset, I want to make you happy. Like you guys, I want to protect you. Buy gold. I don't just say it to Bobby. I say it to everybody who's smart enough to watch and get the information. So it'd be like me just telling Bobby and the rest of you, I don't care what you do. But Bobby, I want to protect, no, it's everybody. Everybody should be buying gold and silver. And that's really the point of it. So if I'm a girl, why would I want one boyfriend? And then what? Then you're bored out of your mind? Because after a while, it's routine then. Okay, I go swimming at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I do class, and then I cook dinner, and then maybe I go to the lake if it's sunny out, or turn on a movie. Like Jenna's saying, it's the same thing. She does, maybe I'll go to the gym, and she does the same thing. And I tell her it's life. What do you wake up. So that's the first part. You woke up, and then you just do what you want, enjoy. She keeps bugging me about a job. I go, well, if I get enough from Teaser King, then that's my job. Problem is it ends in January. But I says, with Social Security and that should be fine to pay my bills, which is most important. And I don't worry about the job. I let the job come. I apply. And I told her, you got to be patient. It happens when it happens. And I'm hoping it happens before November, because once you get into November, December, you're not getting a job till January. But I said, don't worry about it. I got money. That's why I buy the gold. And that's why I keep the money is for now. So if I took all my money and bought gold, I wouldn't have any money. And then if I needed money for something, I'd have to sell an ounce of gold for $2,000, or now it'd be $1,850 an ounce to sell my gold, because I'd have to get paper price, not physical price. So I'm holding the gold for the physical price, and I keep the money so I can, help my friends and buy groceries and, pay my bills with the cash. That's the whole point. So that's what I'm trying to do. And, we'll see what happens, but if you understand it all, you're fine. So again, if I'm more a hot girl than a hot guy, I have the girlfriends, but it's different. I'm not dating them for money. And if you're a hot girl, you can date 10 guys because they want sex with you. So you can, okay, I'll give you sex. You give me money. So they're all prostitutes, kind of, but they're not, they're all selling sex. I'll never forget this story. I'm in Russia in a hotel there, and pretty girl comes up to me, and I say hi, and she says, well, I'm selling sex. And I thought it was the greatest line I ever heard. I go, that's how it should be. How much? And off you go. Like, what the fuck? It's instead of this bullshit games, like the girl in Alabama. Well, I'm going to you're from Cincinnati. They're in the Super Bowl. Here's a $1,500 bet on Cincinnati. If they win, I'll give you $100, make you happy. And she turns it into, oh, well, I thought he was propositioning me. And she tells HR, and are you trying to get sex with her? I go, what are you talking about? I was going to give her $100 if Cincinnati won because she's from Cincinnati. I do that all the time. What the fuck? Sex never entered into it. That's what you're dealing with, a bunch of American idiots. Oh, well, you're pretty, so maybe I would want sex with you. What would be wrong with that? Isn't that the point? Wouldn't you be more worried if I didn't want sex with you because I thought you're ugly and fat than if I think you're attractive and I want sex with you? Isn't that a better thing that should help your ego that you're attractive? So the fact she did that, I'd much rather have the girl say, look, I sell sex. And then it's up to me if I want to engage with the girl or not. But I know up front, she likes me. She approached me. And then I was going to pay the girl $100, not pay her, but to give her and Cincinnati did cover in the teaser. So I did one. Hey, Bobby Bo, what did you get us? Did you get us some gold, silver? You buying gold cheap today? So anyway, that was the best thing I've ever heard. I was telling my Russian story, Bobby. So I'm at a hotel and the girl says, I walk up to her and we're talking. She says, I sell sex. And I says, this is the perfect line. I've never heard a line so perfect. I mean, that's what she did, but it was perfect. And then you knew where you stood with her, and then you could decide what do you want to do with it. And then I was telling the Alabama girl who, because I was going to give her $100 on the bet, she thought I was trying to proposition her, which I never did. And then my point was, well, wouldn't you rather be propositioned because you're attractive than I don't want anything to do with you because you're ugly? I mean, wouldn't that be a better scenario? So it's just amazing how stupid American girls are versus, and not every American girl, but most of them are. They got sexual problems, sexual hangups. They don't like it, or you gotta. I don't know what it is with them. They're just so fucked up. Which is why I have European girlfriends. None of them. They all love it. They don't care. Makes them feel good that you actually like them. All they're interested in is you treat them nice. Just treat me nice. That's all the European girls want. Little love and little respect. The guys treat them very poorly there. American girls don't get it. You treat them nice, and they're just too weird. Anyway, but it's all economics. It's all, there's supply, there's demand. So again, there's more demand for a pretty girl. That's why she should date 10 guys than one who's not pretty. And there's no demand. Nobody wants her. So that's basically what it is. Oh, and I was showing this, Bobby. This is a €5, and this is the dollar, and they're worth the same. They're both toilet paper. So anyway, that's why we buy gold, because anywhere in the world, there's going to be demand for it. Like I said, if I buy a Mantle card or the Montana rookie for 100, the Montana rookie is 125 now, Bobby. If I buy that, can I buy a house with it? So if Bobby's selling his $500,000 house and I have an ounce of gold, and he says, yeah, that's fine. That's money. It's gold. Yeah, I'll sell you the house for the gold because I need money to live. Will he take the Mantle card or the Montana card? or the Brady card, would he take that for the house as easily as he would take the gold? And the fact that the Montana card's already at 125,000 and the gold's at 2 or 19. I was showing the gold on eBay today. It's like 1980 and 1940 for the Cougaran. So I'm ready to go to the gold store, and I can probably get it for 1900 or 1920 or something. It's always much cheaper if he's got any. See, are people running to the gold store? Are they smart enough to go, it's a sale of the century to get gold this cheaper? Are they going, or are people scared going, shit, I better sell my gold before it goes down? Not understanding it's paper price, not physical price. So how they're selling paper price gold, physical gold at paper prices blows my mind. I don't get why these guys are this stupid to sell physical gold at paper gold prices. If the paper gold is 1875, we don't know what the physical gold price is. Why would you sell physical gold at the paper gold price? How stupid are you? I mean, it just blows my mind. You cannot. What does one thing have to do with the other? The only thing is that they both say gold, but because one's a paper, why would you sell physical at that price? Why isn't there a physical price on this? This is the part that I really don't understand, is why there's not a physical market at a physical price, which would be 20, 30,000 an ounce. Why is the physical following the paper market? I've always scratched my head or shook my head at this going, this makes no fucking sense. Bobby, so we pounding LSU, Professor? I like LSU, absolutely. Well, look at your bankroll. What can you afford? What are you betting on it? Maybe you make it a lock or a big bet. Maybe you put it in a couple of teasers. See, what if I was you, I'd have it in a teaser with your locks, right? Your best bet, your Seattle, right? So I would put LSU, Seattle, and I'd put LSU, well, Washington College or Oregon or something, right? I'd have them in multiple teasers. Why don't you play a 3-team teaser? Money line. Again, what's the fucking money line on it? So you got a 7-point dog and a money line. So here you go, Bobby. That's as of now. Before I go on. So Bobby Bow and his money line, bullshit. Let's see. LSU in a money line's minus 144. So why would you want to money line it to save 2.5 points at 144 when you can put them in the teaser at 11-10, where you actually get 3.5? So if they happen to lose to Ole Miss, but less than 3, you still win. And God knows, go play it with Seattle pros or Washington College or Oregon College or the other 100 games very easily, or put it in a 3-team teaser. I don't know what you get out of giving 144 on a 2.5-point favorite that if they win the game, it'll be by at least a field goal. So I don't get the money line. Yeah, they both. I have no idea. I don't pay attention to money lines. Theoretically picking two, but at what point, do you pick Georgia in a money line? Why don't you go Georgia in a money line? Fuck. Georgia's minus 650. You know they're going to beat Auburn, right? I mean, go there. At least they're a 14-point favorite. You get 650. You want to fuck around with Alabama. Alabama is the same 14.5, but they're 710. So you're 650 on Georgia, you're 710 on Alabama. And they're both 14.5. So why do you want to pay more juice for the same fucking bet? So I don't know, Bobby, what to tell you. I don't fuck around with money line. The line, the odds are bullshit. You're not getting a good line with it. And you're not getting 600 on, as I said, it's minus 710 on, so it's minus 140, minus 710. I don't know if you're getting over 100%. I don't do money line parlays. I do teasers. That's all I do. I don't pay attention to anything money line, unless it happens to be baseball, because that's the only way to bet it. But I don't fuck with this. So anyway, as we see, everything comes down to somebody has something that somebody else wants, and you settle on what's the fair trade. That's why there must be free trade. So if it's women, if it's gold, if it's a Mantle card, if it's football, we have different ones, but based on the line, I like this. The line's too high. The line's much lower. I'm going to play that. So it's all, is there demand for whatever it is you're selling? And then you figure out the price. So that's what you got. Bama, UGA, and LSU. Well, of course, the odds are shit. Why don't you just play a 3-team fucking teaser and stop fucking around? Or just play LSU and lay the 2.5. Do you really need to money line a 2.5? Seriously. I don't know what you pay with your bookie, if it's 110 or 120 on a straight bet, but it's got to be better than the 140 you're going to do in a money line to save 2.5 points. Or tease it plus 3.5 with either of those and stop fucking around. Have I taught you nothing? Do you not take notes? Or better off, go buy gold and stop fucking around with all this shit. Anyway, that's Austrian economics. That's Adam Smith and Say's Law. So if you meet a pretty girl, what's it going to cost you? It's going to cost you. You always pay for sex. If they're an accountant or they're a prostitute, it doesn't matter. Just the one's more direct. The prostitute says it's whatever, it's this much. And then if it's too much, you don't do it. And if it's fair price, you do it. And, so you base it on the looks. If they're not prostitutes and they're just, have a regular job, they work at the grocery store, believe me, you're going to pay to have sex with her. Or you're going to take her to dinner and you're going to take her shopping. There's no way you're not going to pay. So it's got to be somebody with a good personality. So the looks are important, but the personality is more important to me, because you got to have somebody you can talk to and trust. She's got to like football for me and gold. I can't date a Bitcoin girl. I mean, that never happened. So it's a lot of strange stuff. Fortunately, the Russians are into gold. Now, I don't know if they're into Bitcoin. I don't really bring it up. And I don't really, if they are, I just roll my eyes. But at the end of the day, you're treating them for food. You're taking them shopping. They're not pulling money out to pay for dinner or shopping. Occasionally, they'll buy themselves something where you don't have to buy it, but they're expecting you to take them shopping. That's for sure. Or a communist. Well, I don't know if Daria and Jen, I don't think Daria is a communist. I don't, she's in the gold, so I don't think she is. I don't think anybody in Russia they see what Putin is. They don't want to be communist. That's why they're all running out of there. They all leave. But, you will make sacrifices depending on how pretty the girl is and what's her personality like. She could be into Bitcoin and you overlook it, but if she doesn't like football, she's got to let me do my thing. She's got to let me do my class. That's always the one thing. Knowing Irina in Romania, she's the one who just had the baby, and she said to me, "Well, I understand if you want to date a girl who won't let you talk to me," and I says, that would never happen. I'm not going to give up my friendship with you over a girl who won't let me talk to you. That means she's controlling, and I will walk away from anybody who tries to control me. That it's always got to be about freedom. So I said to her, that'll never happen. If there's a girl I meet who won't let me talk to you, I dump her. And I think she understood that. Even though she's married, it works out well where I care for her like she just had the baby and everything's fine. I mean, she's busy with the baby, and I understand that. But that's the best kind of friends to have. Doesn't really take my money, and we're very close. But anyway, that's you've got to understand. There's always somebody has something that somebody wants, and somebody will pay for it. There's always a payment. And it's just, is it fair? If they want $20,000, if they want a fur coat, sorry, I don't have that kind of money. Now, if you'll wait till gold goes up, then I'll buy you a fur coat. But right now, I'm not selling my gold to buy you a fur coat, or something, or buy me a Mercedes. It's not going to happen. Then they price themselves out. But as long as they kind of understand and wait, and then you buy them the fur coat, then it's fine. But it's going to cost you something to be with them because they don't want to be with a cheap man. They're a pretty girl. They know how the other guys treat them. So that's what you're competing with them. And if you don't think you're competing with other guys for a girl, you're out of your fucking mind, no matter how pretty she is. She could be perfect. She could be not perfect. She could be a 10. She could be a 5. You're competing with somebody. Just the level of the competition is easier with 5s than 10s. That's why if I'm a 10, or a 9, I'm dating 10 guys. Give me gold. I need gold. But that's because there's demand for her. Right? So as long as there's demand, and in women it's looks and personality, and in men it's not as much looks. They don't really care what we look like as much as if we treat them nice and we're honest and we have some money. Not all money, but we have to have some money and give them security and be nice. As long as we give them security and we're nice to them, then that's fine. That's the most important. But that's the same thing with gold. It's what's the price, what we can afford. But again, I don't understand this paper price being gospel, and then the physical guys selling the physical gold at paper prices, and everybody thinking the physical gold is the paper price. I mean, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in the history of life. That's something, two different things are, how one thing is equal to something totally different. That's like saying that my Canadian Club, well, if this is $50, a 2-liter of Coca-Cola is $50. Well, they're both 2-liter. Well, this is what? This is a 750 milliliter. It's not even a liter of of whiskey. So it's like saying a 750 of this and a 750 of Coca-Cola are the same price. Well, they're different. So is physical gold and paper gold. Why are you selling physical at paper? Doesn't make any sense. And that's really the problem, right? You're trying to sell paper gold at physical prices, and why people are stupid enough to sell it at the paper price is one thing. We'll buy it at the paper price because we know there's a lot less physical than there is paper. That's why we buy it. We know the physical price is far higher than the paper price because supply and demand, there's far less physical ounces of gold than paper ounces of gold. So the supply of paper is up here, so the price is here, but the supply of physical gold is down here, and the price should be here, not at the paper price. So if we understand that, we keep buying it. When we see days like the last few days where there's no reason the dollar is down, and we don't care if the dollar's down, we buy more gold. We're not scared that the paper price went down. They just sold a lot more derivatives, which have nothing to do with physical gold. So therefore, it's a sale of the century. We're gonna, like that show, we're gonna go out and buy a bunch of gold. This is what I have money in the safe for. Okay, I'm willing to take $5,000 out and buy gold at these prices all day, because they're not physical prices, they're paper prices. And we see over the horizon, here's the Russian BRICS, China BRICS, new currency, get paid for oil and gold, and they need the gold price to go way up. We see that. So we know coming down the road is this $30,000, $40,000 an ounce gold price. And you just lowered it to 1870, like this is like one of the miracles. This is like the 69 Mets was a miracle, and this is a miracle. It's like, you're lowering the price in heavy inflation worldwide with a $270 trillion debt. You want to lower the price of gold. Okay, well, I won't argue with you. If you want to be that stupid, I'll take advantage, because I take advantage of stupidity. I do it in lines like tonight's game. Detroit's now 2.5 favored. I'll take Green Bay in 8.5 all fucking day. I would have taken the dog in the game because I don't really trust Love, but I certainly don't trust golf in a big game. So I will do that all day. And I got my guy, Adam Jones, back. He's playing. He's the running back. I got him. I got 2 or 3 touchdowns. So you got to put up a 40 on this Green Bay defense that looks pretty good. And we see what the Lions are like. They're not very good. And they're not. And you're making them road favorites. It's like taking Trevor Lawrence, like I said, as a 7-point favorite. You got to be crazy. Anyway, so that's the bottom line. No communists, no Bitcoinists, and they got to like football and gold. That's my requisition of a girl. A good girl, fairly attractive, but good personality, must like gold, must not be a communist, and must like, well, it doesn't have to like football, but let me like football. And that's it. Just have a decent personality that we can talk over dinner and not be too expensive. So anyway, that's really it. So tomorrow we'll cover, I think we hit pro pretty much today, so we'll hit it on Sunday. Tomorrow we'll just talk college. We'll take a look at Cam Rising, if the doctor will let him play. It must be about him getting hit, because in practice he probably doesn't get hit. So probably, is the leg strong enough to take a hit in the game? And the doctor's saying no, but in practice he's not getting hit. So he's saying, yeah, he could run. I don't think he can take a hit. It's probably the problem. But somebody needs to bring that out, because it sounds weird when they say, well, he's free to practice, but he can't play. but they're not getting tackled in practice. I don't believe. Now, if they tackle, and I would be shocked if Utah's tackling their quarterback in practice, and then the guy hurts his knee. That's you never tackle the quarterback. So it's probably he doesn't think the knee can take the hit. It's probably why he's not playing him, which is fine. And so each week he looks at it and he's not ready, but he should be explaining that to the coach because the coach is frustrated. The fans are frustrated. The bettors are frustrated. So pretty much he probably won't play. Pretty much we're going to go. So play this game. Once you find out, Bobby, play Utah under with Arkansas or with LSU and Arkansas. That should be your 3-teamer right there. Arkansas getting 12. Utah under, and LSU. That's a good fucking 3-teamer. I think I'll do it myself. But we got to make sure Rising's not. If Rising's playing, we can't go under. Although it probably will still be an under, but I would be happy to take Utah on 10 points with Rising against Uglia Buglia. That's the other part of the under. You got Uglia Buglia. He's against this defense. If Oregon State gets more than 7 points, I'll be shocked against this defense based on the offense scoring, not on a pick six or something. But it'll be Utah playing to their strength, playing to their defense, and Oregon State, if they're relying on Uglia Buglia, they're in big fucking trouble. So anyway, that's what we got. www.teaserking.com. I did get an email from that guy yesterday. I'm not quite sure what it means. It's something with power rankings, which it's only useful if I can use it to bet. So right now, if I look at the best pro team, let's say it's San Francisco. They're laying 14. Does the fact of the best team let me bet it? So let's take a look at like this Indy-LA game. Indy is an even team. They're mid-20s, and they give up mid-20s, and the Rams are an under team. Strong defense, probably score 20 and give up 20 or 19. How does it rank matter in this bet? It doesn't. It's neither are A teams, neither are Z teams. So you like the dog in the game, right? Or Seattle. Seattle's much better than the Giants, and they're getting points. I don't need to power rank them. I can just see Seattle's an over team. The Giants are a Z team. So I rank them like that. I don't need a power ranking of 1 to 32. Doesn't fucking matter. What matters is I know who's the Z team and who's the A team and who's the over and who's the under. That's what matters. So you got an under team like Atlanta's an under team. They don't score a lot, and they got a fairly good defense. And they held the Lions to 20 points. So if I got an under team, I'm probably going to – and I get another under team. So where's my under? Like Cincinnati, Tennessee are probably both unders right now. They don't score a lot. Their defense is holding. So you probably want to play it under. New England, Dallas, 2 under teams. You probably want to play it under. So it's things like that you're looking at. Why do I need to power rank them? I mean, I need to know what type of team they are. I don't necessarily need to know where if one's 1 and one's 10, really, well, what type of team is 10? Oh, 10's an over team. Okay, that's what I need. And how are you ranking them? By offense, by defense, by net? Are you looking at schedule? Because the Jets have played Buffalo, Dallas, and New England. They played 3 pretty fucking good teams, and then you look at Baltimore played Houston, Indy, and Cincinnati. They played 2 dogs in Cincinnati with Burrow hurt, so it really doesn't matter. So anyway, www.teaserking.com. You can purchase the picks. You can find my email on there's tabs, so there's a home tab. And you scroll near the bottom, and it gives you my email, and then you can email me. But anyway, so 1 college lock, 1 pro lock. You've got the 4 free picks, and I got a boatload of college plays and probably 4 or 5 real strong pro plays. So keep that in mind. All right. I guess keep an eye out if there's any hurricane or weather or something that would affect the games. Otherwise, off we go. A ton of really good plays this week, and we know the team's better. No, Bobby's talking LSU, Mississippi. We know LSU's pretty strong. Mississippi shot their load against Alabama and looked like shit in it. Quarterback missed a wide open guy. They would have lost 24-17. They're giving up 24 points to Milrose. Are you kidding me? He sucks. So anyway, girls, it's all free market. It's if they're attractive, then there's more demand for them, and they can ask for a higher price. They can date more guys because there's more guys interested in them. And I'm not saying anything illegal here. I'm not saying they should all be prostitutes. I'm just saying they're going to get paid for you're going to date them and spend money on them, and you're going to get sex from them. So in effect, they're prostitutes, but not really. I mean, they're not charging you for sex. They're charging you, okay, you can do this. Take me to dinner. We'll go shopping, and I want a ring, and I want a coat, and I want this, and I want that. But I'm not a prostitute. You're not paying for sex, but if you want sex with me, you gotta do these. Shopping and dinners are required if you want sex with me. So how is that different? I don't know, but that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Okay, have a nice night. Good luck tonight. I got Green Bay as a home dog. We got Aaron Jones back. I don't give a fuck that the offensive tackle of the Lions is playing. Whip-de-doo. Because I can blitz you. And if I blitz 6 guys, I don't care who the offensive line is. You're not going to do anything. So anyway, so that's about it. Free play. Take the Lions today with Seattle on Monday night. Free play in college. Florida, Kentucky under with Arkansas getting 12.5, and the A&M quarterback is out. So again, we have reason to play the game, and we hope it comes out to get the expected outcome we expect. All right, everybody, have a good day. Take care. www.teaserking.com. Go buy your gold and silver at these prices. These are paper prices, and you can get physical gold at paper prices. Is a fucking joke. It's on sale, so buy.